Oh, we're not going to see anything.
I can't see if the audio is working because I haven't spun the screen round. Will I just sit here and wait, Jay?
They love to say when the audio is not working, to be fair.
They're like, no. Oh, he's going to actually spin it around. Okay.
Is it in the way of the thing?
No, it's fine.
It's all right.
Look at you, Jay. Look at you doing that thing for me. It looks like it's working. I can
Well,
see green bars.
I just assumed that you'd complain until I did it.
No, I was just going to fuck it. I'm in a pretty good mood at the moment. I was just going to run with it and go for it. But hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely Tuesday afternoon. Tom's back.
Hello.
I'm very excited for Tom being back.
Oh.
Yeah.
We've had our obligatory half morning game.
Yeah.
Half morning tournament game.
Or half
It's
our morning
made
half
me
game so far.
change what detachment I'm running tonight.
Have you? For tournament, is it tournament Tuesday?
I
tonight
think we
you
are
do?
doing tournament Tuesday with
left it
brand new-ish tournament setup terrain.
Oh, the new.
Yeah.
Which is,
The new metal terrain.
It's
yeah.
interesting.
Is it WTC? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
UK.
Yeah,
UK.
UK.
okay.
It's one of the TCs. And
It is a TC, yeah.
And and I'm running Black Templars, a full Black Templar army.
Proper Black Templar.
Joe's painted extra stuff, so we actually have 2,000 points of Black Templars.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice.
I was driven on by the banner guy.
As always, we had 1,500 points of Templars for ages, and then I said Joe could play them, and now suddenly we have 2,000 points. Because that's how it works.
It wasn't.
I have decided if I ever want to get anything painted, I just have to tell him he can play it, and then finally it will get painted.
Yeah.
It'll go to top of the queue.
No, it wasn't actually. It was.
Well, it has to be an army he wants to play.
It was basically spurred on by the fact that they had the sexy new model the other day,
The banner guy,
the banner guy.
which you do love a banner
And I
man.
do fucking love a banner guy. And then I was like,
Yeah, if you ever want a honeypot Joe, just get a banner.
yeah. And I was kind of like, I want a bit of a quick win in terms of painting this week. In like, what can I do to feel like I've achieved something?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if I paint literally 3 vehicles black, I've got 1,500 points. That takes us over the 2,000 points for Templars, and then we have a playable Templars army because we haven't had the Templars on the channel for ages.
No.
No, it's been a few months. I think the last time I played it with a Castellan as well.
And then there was that beautiful new chaplain.
Keep talking to Tom. Apparently, there's a weird electrical cracker. I'm going to fix it.
There was a
but now we've got free. You can just keep talking to Tom.
There was a beautiful new chaplain who was announced yesterday. Did you see
It's
him?
the excretor or something.
Yeah.
That's how I read it in my dyslexic brain.
I want to say, I feel like it's excruciator.
That sounds like a Harry Potter spell.
Excruciator, yeah. And he's beautiful. And
it looks so cool.
yeah. So in my head, I was like, I'll run the Templars because people would be Googling, wouldn't they? You know, for that algorithm.
For the algorithm gods.
Yeah. And at home, I've got like 20 excavator.
He's got like a hard hat
Is
and
it?
a
Yeah.
yellow jacket.
Is he got like a big digger plow that you like?
Yeah,
he
he
drives
plows
around.
everyone,
Yeah, just
Joe.
goes around. He's got
Yeah.
one of those diggers. I think
Should have gone by now, chat. Let me know.
He's got his HGV license.
I think I fixed it.
It's
excreta.
the if Luton says the excreta, it's the excreta.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
So
But I think Black Templars have probably the coolest character selection, maybe barring Space Wolves.
Good. I'm glad.
Those are the two.
Glad you followed
Those
that
are
one
the
up.
two.
yeah, I think it's a tie.
I started saying it and I was like, hang on.
I think it's very much a tie on combat efficiency out of them, though.
I think Black Templars are winning in terms of just like beat you to death damage.
Hellbrecht is. Today was the first time I've ever used Hellbrecht.
Hellbrecht does some
he
dirty
is
work.
Mental.
Have you got him in a unit of Sword Brethren?
Yeah.
For the extra damage?
Yeah.
He's
It's
insane.
only-
So
Only damage 4.
So with his 12 sweep attack, he's like strength 8, AP 3, damage 2.
Yeah, he's really
Great.
good.
He's just critting
There's
on
2, yeah.
5s.
Yeah.
He's mental.
Although
the Emperor's Champion was an absolute chad.
He is, yeah.
I like that.
I did work out, however, that with Space Wolves, I built a list that had something like 30 to 40 straight damage 3 attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
So
mental.
I think there is. I don't know. I think there is a give and take.
I'd say
somewhere.
like I think it's more spread out in Space Wolves.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas it like Hellbrecht and 5 Swords Bros kill like the world and then maybe the sun if they got sustained 5s as well.
Yeah.
Whereas like with Space Wolves, each individual dude will kill quite a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
And This is Jovan Black Templars, broken Black Templar. We haven't got the Codex. We don't know. Haven't got. The
We
new
actually
models.
haven't got it. So.
But I have got a lot of Black Templars at home. But it's more of a case of like I'm on this kind of spiritual Space Marine journey at the moment.
All right. Okay. Let's talk about that for a minute. Go
In
on.
terms of like,
I sort of am as well for a very different reason. Though.
the murdering of Blood Angels the killing. It started with the assassination of Gabriel Seth.
He's not dead. He's not officially dead.
He's not officially dead.
No.
But there's also a great book
He's
called.
just sleeping.
There is also a great. I think it's the reason the book that I fell in love with Gabriel Seth was called The Assassination of Gabriel Seth,
Okay.
where the captains of the Flesh Terrors lock him in a room with an Eversaur assassin,
Jesus.
and
They just win.
Basically, he's got no weapon. It's just his power armor. He basically rips the Eversaur assassin's arms off
My God. Okay.
because he's that angry.
Yeah.
And because he realizes he can't kill it because then it explodes and kill him. So he rips its arm off and then basically, like with the entrails, like sticks it to the door. So when it explodes, it takes out the door, and that's how it gets out.
That's pretty cool.
And I was like, yes, Gabriel Seth is Giga Chad.
Oh
He
yeah.
is the Thad.
I read the Fear to Tread, the Blood Angels one the other day, and it has like the first Flash Terror in it. He's really
Yeah,
cool.
and I think since the Blood Angels Codex just did it, like the Blood Angels Codex has got really, really good rules, but the heart is gone from it for me
Yeah,
personally.
it was like most competitive, least actual fun for faction lovers.
So I've kind of gone on this little bit of a journey in terms of like what do I want from a book, and I went to I really like the Raven Guard, but as an army to play with, it's really boring because it's just basic Space Marine.
Yeah, they are a little bit.
Because there's no real special units for them. So obviously I've been doing Dark Angels, and now I'm trying the Templars. Just guys with cool cloaks in iron knight armor. I think is my place to be.
To clarify for chat as well, the reason why we have so many Templars and Dark Angels is because I was trying to build a Space Marine faction for ages, and I don't like. I'm a little bit like what you've said. I mean, I know you love the Raven Guard, but I can't get on with vanilla Space Marines. I think they're a bit dull.
I really like them as a chapter. They're one of my favourite chapters, like overall.
Yeah, but from narrative,
For narrative,
Right.
But play style,
Exactly.
They're just normal Space Marines with a named character who on paper is okay, but on the table is actually a bit shit.
He's aggressively average.
Yeah.
So I bought a bunch of Dark Angels and was not really feeling it. And then once I eventually had the bill through from Siege for the Templars, I decided I would probably paint my own Templars army because that was insane. And I bought loads of Templars. So Joe hasn't actually bought any Templars at all. I bought loads of Templars.
I bought some Templars of Big Ash.
But I bought, but I bought loads ages ago, including all the characters again and everything. And then Joe was like, "Well, I could add to them." This was about 3 or 4 months ago ish. I was like, "Okay, cool." So I gave him all the Templars, but he wasn't playing them at the time, which is why we've waited till now.
Has been a lot of stuff, to
I
be
was
fair.
also doing other stuff at the same time.
Well, to be fair, that kind of segues nicely into the actual topic for the stream today.
Yeah.
So, what has spurred him on is the Bannerman from last week from Templars, and we also saw the new Excruciator yesterday. The Excretor yesterday, who looks incredible. I think he actually does look really cool, to be fair. And that got me thinking, actually, because what we were talking about last night on the show, Joe, just for reference, was the fact that the Grey Knights Combat Patrol is a little bit sad.
Yeah,
And someone suggested that what they think had happened, or what they think was happening, was that Games Workshop had kind of an intent to essentially get rid of Deathwatch, Demons, and maybe even Grey Knights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I could see them getting rid of Grey Knights.
So I think the original plan, and they did it so badly that I think that there must have been some internal cock up at Games Workshop, right? I think that Grey Knights and Deathwatch were supposed to be exclusive to the Agents of the Imperium.
Oh, do you reckon?
So I think because there's been a mistake somewhere, right? Because Deathwatch had both their characters in it and the actual Deathwatch Kill Team unit and the Corvus Blackstar in the Agents of the Imperium, which is realistically the units that they sell for Deathwatch. Because all the other Deathwatch armies are made from just Primaris Marines with fancy shoulder pads.
Yeah, it's
and
just
stickers
the
on.
mismatch of random Primaris Marines.
So officially, Deathwatch did exist in the narrative way that it should exist, where at most you get like 10 Deathwatch Marines turn up to deal with an actual problem, and then the Grey Knights had, for some reason, just the Terminators.
Yeah.
Was it only Terminators?
It was only the what they should have done, it should have been, is the Terminators, the Strike Squad, maybe the Nemesis Dread Knight, and some characters, and then that's narratively how the Grey Knights operate.
Well, there's only like 4 Grey Knight kits, really, aren't there?
Yeah, so I think that's how it should have been, but someone done cocked up, and people were like, actually, I have a Deathwatch army, I want to keep using it. And then people were like, well, actually, I have a Grey Knight army.
Do you think they like just chickened out of just putting it all in one book and decided they're going to keep trying to make all 3 armies come out?
I think the response to Agents, to Deathwatch, and to Demons alert was enough for them to go, oh, fuck.
Demons, I understand more, because I think Demons should never leave 40k.
No, God no.
Because Chaos is primarily
it's the great enemy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the polar opposite of the Imperium, but it's also the reason why the Imperium and Warhammer narrative exists as a whole.
Yeah, you don't have 40k without proper Chaos.
But the theory was that they were going to try and remove these things from the game potentially, and I don't know how true I think that is or how much I buy into it, but that was the theory anyway. We've obviously seen other things that have gone on. Lots of stuff has gone the way of the Dodo. Seth has disappeared. Space Wolf Flyers went away. And lots of stuff is slowly but surely, or it seems to be slowly but surely being removed. We've obviously seen a lot of stuff that has gone to Legends, and a lot of Forger stuff that's gone to Legends as well, and is no longer kind of tournament legal. And so when I then think about the 2 new characters that come out for Templars, that's when I ask the question. I've asked today's question: is does 40k need slimming? Is there too much, or are we in a situation where we just keep fucking adding because it's fun? Who cares? And I think it depends on how you look at the game. I think if you look at the game from a purely competitive standpoint or competitive perspective, you probably could argue, it does need slimming down to make it more efficient to balance. But I think from most of our perspectives, probably everyone sat here as well, you'd argue that variety is what makes it fun and engaging and interesting.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know at the end of 10th, like, the number of units that got taken out versus the number of new units that have come into the game over the last 3 years.
I think Space Wolves is a prime example of Games Workshop trying to push you down the slimmed down version of the army route, because none of the characters can join generic Space Marine units. That supplement is very much the.
Do you think it's going to stay that way?
I hope it stays that way. I hope the Templars is the same.
Do you think
obviously Templars have access to less units, but I think like going down there, because I was going through the index and I was surprised that none of the Templar characters can join Blade Guard.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I think that's a bit odd, but I can deal with it. But they can all join, obviously Sword Brethren. They can all join the big one, the Crusader Squad. The Crusader Squad. They can join Intercessors. They can join Stern Guard, I think.
They can join Stern Guard.
Some can join Stern Guard, which is an odd choice.
So just not Blade Guard.
But not Blade Guard. Games Workshop's got this really... Because I had this real problem with it with Seth in Blood Angels. Seth could never join Blade Guard until they put him in Legends, and then he could. and I was like, I don't understand.
That was the final, like, fuck you, Joe.
It was like someone at Games Workshop doesn't like me, right? And their entire Blood Angels decision was based on the fact that they hate me. So I think the Space Wolves is a sign of what might be to come.
Space Wolves almost felt like its own codex, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because all of the units, you can only really interact with each other's units.
Yeah.
Like even the stratagems and the rules and stuff.
I'd almost like to see. I personally would have preferred it if they'd gone a step further with the Space Wolves and said you can't take generic intercessors.
I've seen a comment from Tank, by the way, as well, just because it's on point here a little bit, but he just mentioned this and I didn't notice that. Stern and Drago have been removed from Games Workshop website.
Who? What the old
Brother Captain Stern and Calador Drago.
They're the old ones.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe...
So now all you've got is Voldus and Castellan Crow as characters.
So it's now just Castellan Crow.
Isn't one of them in the warp though?
Isn't the what's his name? Isn't Drago always like?
Drago's like always in the warp fighting demons.
He is
forever.
the joke, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's just like random Chuck Norris Grey Knight.
I think.
How odd! I didn't notice that.
And also, someone pointed out, and it was a. I saw it was a thumbnail that made me go and look. For some reason, the Tyranid combat patrol isn't on Games Workshop website anymore. It's gone. It's not sold out. It's not like out of stock. It's gone. Because the Votan one is sold out online.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
As they get a new combat patrol, Tyranids.
Maybe.
But why would they?
But the Space Marine one's on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's just an error.
Yeah, it's just a very strange one. But maybe Games Workshop's sick of producing the bloody Tyranid Prime. Because that's fucking everywhere at the moment. But yeah, I think like the Imperium as a faction as a whole needs, I think, to have more restrictions implied to it.
I agree with that.
For list building, though.
For list building.
But you're not talking about slimming the model range down here. You're just talking about...
For list building. So, like, when you look at Age of Sigmar, the factions are... even though it's broken down into the 4, like, divisions, as it were, like Chaos, Order, Destruction, and Death. The armies are very, very segregated in each one, so that it's more streamlined for both collecting and buying and army building. And there are ways of having cross-pollination, but they're restricted to what units you can specifically take. And Space Wolves is a sign for me that I think that 40k might start to edge in that route. I'd like in 11th edition for them to go, if you play Templars, you cannot take generic intercessors because you have the Crusader squad.
I'd like to go a step further as well.
Yeah.
I'd also like to go, if you play Templars, you can't play Gladius.
Yeah.
I mean, that won't be their thing, probably. But you know
Just
what I
make
mean?
them
Like,
their own little codex, basically.
I would rather Space Wolves had 6 detachments and no access to the generic Space Marine ones.
I think everyone having over moment in the army rule is also kind of boring.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I'd rather just have like, if it's Space Force, for example, they could just have like sagas as their army rule or whatever it is.
Yeah, but then like I suppose we're in a time as well when Space Wolves have the 3 detachments in their supplement.
They got 4, but one of them doesn't work because they're the Grotmus one.
The Grotmus one, which
they
doesn't work.
They did not think about how there are no Terminator characters in Space Wolves now.
Well, I think
because like that detachment is essentially play Terminators, and these enhancements
well,
go
the
on
thing is,
Terminator
though,
characters.
Currently, that detachment does work because the Codex isn't out yet.
Oh yeah, but like
yeah.
So when the Codex comes out, I imagine they'll well, it's out because it's out. It goes on pre-order.
It's
on Saturday,
pre-order
doesn't it?
Saturday.
So in 2.5 weeks' time, they'll probably fix that. So you'll have 4 detachments.
Yeah.
And then you'll probably get another one before the new edition.
Maybe depends
because
we've not got that many.
Because
more.
you've got the Grotmus, not the Grotmus detachments, haven't you?
There's not many more opportunities to get one.
Where's one every 3? There's 3 every 3 months.
Yeah, so it'd be like 9, 12 more maybe.
Yeah, it's like a whole year to go. Whether you'll still be able to use them in 11th edition, we don't know.
No idea.
We don't know.
That's part of the problem we're having, isn't it? Though?
And now we're basically looking at essentially less than a year. Around a year, less than a year.
It's
11th.
We're talking about it. So roughly, I think it's normally mid to late June. So yes,
so
about a year.
About
basically
a year. So like in a year's time, we're going to be looking down a new edition and then probably a new Space Marine Codex, and then everyone just gets a new Codex again anyway.
Yeah, the grind starts. I don't
and
care.
It all starts all over again.
I don't care because I've got pretty Eldar and Space Wolf models, but I feel a bit sorry for those that. I feel a bit sorry for people like Drukari and Votan players who don't have a book yet.
So they'll probably get.
Drukari are going to be the last based off current predictions, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because they haven't even had. They've not even had a picture on the roadmap.
So when I looked on Games Workshop website,
all those good roadmaps.
When I looked at the Games Workshop website, the Votan Combat Patrol is sold out. sold out online, not out of stock. You got out of stock and then you got sold out. So the Lotown one is clearly done.
Yeah, I think that's done.
But the Drukhari one is still available.
Do you think? Would you slim 40k down in terms of actual models and kits available then? Because there's a couple of arguments I want to throw at you that I think, and this might upset some people in chat, but I think are arguments that are quite legitimate arguments. For example, you could flat remove flyers.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because so I was having this discussion on
Put that Helldrake in the bin.
on
Heldrakes.
So I was having a discussion on Sunday about Tyranids, right? Because my friend Simon's starting a Tyranids army, and I said the problem with Tyranids have got now is they've got too many big monsters that are all the same but different, so their rules are a bit the same but different. And the problem is there's very clear winners and there's very clear losers. So you're never going to buy the losers because they're just a version of it that's just better, right? So the the Tyrannofex is just really, really good. It uses a cannon. The what's it called? The one with the Exocrine, really, really good. But it's like you never see a Horuspex on the table.
No, which is a shame.
It's a shame. It's got fuckloads of attacks that are like damage 2.
Which one's the Horus?
The big mouth dude with the big
mouth, right? He's got a really, really cool. He's got loads of shooting attacks, got loads of combat attacks, but they're mid strength, AP 1, damage 2, and you're like,
AP 1,
which isn't bad.
It's not bad.
AP 1 is.
But
bad.
why would you bother when you've got the Tyrannofex and the Exocrine and other stuff?
As a standalone profile, it looks okay, and then when you compare it to similar things for similar points, you just don't take it.
It's like the Trigon, because I've been playing I played the Worm detachment again. Trigon, I think triple Trigon, right? You'd spin off Morlocks. Because the problem with the
He's got a Trigon obsession at the moment.
In terms of rules, the Trigon is about the same points as the Morlock, but infinitely better. Because for some reason, the Trigon, not including the Prime, has got 12 attacks, a strength 10, right, assuming it's not a Prime, AP 2, damage 3. The Morlock's got 16 attacks, it's got 4 more, at strength 8 to 9, AP 2, damage 1. So it's got 4 more attacks, but the damage 1. It's like, I'd rather have 4 attacks less.
And damage 3.
And be damage 3 and stronger.
Yeah, that's definitely better.
Yeah. And the Trigon's got a shooting profile as well. So I'm just like, it's kind of those like, I feel like Tyranids could probably do with losing some of its creatures, really.
Maybe, yeah.
Or have it in terms of the rules writing where, much like in how they did a really good job with the detachments, where when you do a detachment, you can only take invade, like the Vanguard Invader units in that detachment. You can only take Worm units in that detachment. And then the Crusher Stampeders, you can only take big monsters in that one, in ways of streamlining it. Because I feel like there's just the Tyranids got really cool stuff, but there's too many of it, and Games Workshop struggled to write rules for it.
They did a good job of slimming down the Emperor's Children range.
Yeah, did a great job of it.
But do you ever, seriously, when you're looking at lists and building lists for any of the factions that you play, or either of you play, do you ever actually consider putting flyers in? And if you don't, why?
The only option I have is a Helldrake.
You play Orcs?
I don't own any of the Orc flyers.
So have you ever looked? Have you ever got, like?
You know what?
There's a point I'm getting at here.
Yeah.
Because do you ever even like go and look at their rules about are they any good?
If I owned an Ares gunship, I'd probably use it once a year.
Yeah. Because the thing is, for me, I look at flyers and I look at the faff of playing with them, and I'm like,
I think that's the main. That puts me off like flyers and Titanic and stuff, and I just have to learn extra rules to use it.
Just how can I deploy it? How can I make sure I can actually fly it?
Yeah, like how can it has to like move 20 and then pivot at the end, and it can see everything or it can see nothing, and it's just like I can't be asked.
I've got a Valkyrie. I bought a Valkyrie at Christmas
because like flyers are always either completely shit or insanely good.
Yeah.
Like I went to the Bristol big tournament and Josh Roberts won it with one of the Space Marine flyers.
Storm Raven?
Yeah, I think it was a Storm Raven. And I think that's just because it has loads of guns, and because of the weird flying rules, it can just like see everything.
Yeah, so I saw Beachhead not last year but the year before, but people were literally running double, triple.
Yeah, in
triple Storm
what's it,
Raven.
Ironstorm.
Yeah,
For the shooting buffs.
it was mental. And it's like I bought the Valkyrie at Christmas, not built it.
No,
Because it's just because it's fucking massive.
Yeah.
Right, and its rules are terrible, but I bought it because I did own one. And I've always wanted to own one.
That's the guard transport.
Yeah,
one,
the
right?
guard transport one.
I do wish those ones are a bit more fun because
Yeah.
like that's kind of cool that you can like fly your transport ship in, it can drop the guys off and fuck off and do whatever. But
I think one of the biggest problems with flyers was when they reduced the table to 44 by 60.
Yeah,
because they move too far.
yeah.
Because they haven't adapted how flyers work and interact in that kind of smaller scale.
I think they need to change flyers back to their 6th edition rules. When did Apocalypse come out?
Going way
I
back.
think it might be 6th. Maybe was it 5th? 6th?
I think it was 6th. 5th was City Fight. 6th was Apocalypse. I think. Maybe.
What
I
were
think
the-
you're right.
Someone in chat will know. Yeah, because the City Fight rules were banging. Because that was because 5th was Eye of Terror campaign. So 6th edition. So in the 6th edition, flyers did strafing runs. So you'd place it where you want it to come in, and I think it was like the next turn it flew to a point, and then you shot it all of its guns, and then it flew off the table.
Okay,
So it worked like how a plane works.
Yeah.
You hear it
Imagine.
coming, it blows something up, and then fucks off. You know.
Yeah.
And that was really cool because we had like thunderbolts and stuff flying around, and the Eldar planes were really, really cool. But planes in the game now just almost clutter the table up.
They do.
Do you think that super heavies do the same thing? Because so you could argue that you could and should remove planes from the game. I don't. I know some people will not like this.
Yeah.
I would be okay with them, and I get access to things like Eldar flyers, which are fucking gorgeous. I'd be okay with removing flyers from actual standard 40k at 2,000 points, maybe limiting them to the bigger size games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you
not
can
think-
definitely still have them in big games.
I would go a step further. This will really upset some people. I'd also probably be looking at removing super heavies from 2,000 point games.
Yes. Have you
Yeah,
read?
I think so.
Have you read the Night Index?
I have.
As
Yeah.
in-
Why? Why, Jay? Why?
Because everyone that currently plays Knights, right? So Adam came third at the Golden Ticket event, right? Adam's a lovely chap. We know Adam.
I'd finger him.
Happy, good, fun time fellow,
Yeah.
right? His Golden Ticket list, he has gained enough points to just put a whole other big knight into it, and he's already running six Helverins, 4 Warglaves, and Canis Rex. Just gains another big knight.
But Joe, they're toughness 11 now.
But it doesn't matter because Canis Rex dropped 100 points, gained wounds,
Yeah.
no rules change.
Well, it's like what we were saying this morning. Like the toughness thing only matters on some guns. Having more wounds matters on all guns.
The
Especially when they have a feel no pain.
The only difference now is that strength 6 weapons now wound them on 5s,
And strength 12 is better now.
and so, which is what las cannons.
Which last hands are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and that's it really, and Adam, incredible player,
Yeah.
incredibly lovely person. No favorite game votes, no favorite army votes. Right. Oh, I saw that.
Clearly a terrible person.
Clearly a knob.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, he's really lovely, but like, it's just a horribly oppressive army to play against.
Yeah.
I've got a fucking
Well,
nose
yeah,
hair that's tickling me. And now it's more oppressive. I'm convinced someone has gone, how do we clear all of the night boxes before we rebrand them?
Maybe.
Someone's gone, make them cheaper
Yeah,
in points, because I'm glad I have no tournaments and like coming up, and
What?
because I'm like,
I was saying to Tom
because it's
earlier,
going to be
right?
horrible.
Do you know how many points the Castellan is with the big volcano lance and the big plasma gun?
Yeah.
Do you know how many points he is over a Crusader now?
Well, it was like 100 points, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, now like
He's had a 115 point drop. He's now only 30 points more than a Crusader. 30 points.
mental.
points.
And they
for
are
better
still
for better guns.
They are
Yeah.
still T12. Those ones.
Like-
as well.
like Canis Rex is now the single most obnoxious data sheet. In the
I think
game.
if you're just running an Imperium army, you might just put him in
Yeah.
because it's not that many points now for like an absolute powerhouse.
And the thing is, though, the War Dogs and Armigers are okay. I hate the army type, the style of play, because it's even more because like they've reduced the OC now, which is like good because it should only be OC 6 and then they drop down to 3. But it doesn't matter if in 1,000 points you now have 2 extra baby knights.
Yeah, true.
It says, when I visit you guys, I'm bringing Joe a roll of tin.
Basically, they're like, how many nights do you reckon they sold out on Index Day?
I don't know.
What, on the new update?
Yeah.
A fucking lot.
They were like, spending money for the weekend.
Well, the thing is, like, loads of people own knights as well. Because like every Imperium army player at some point, it's been like, I could ally in this.
Are you saying I should get Canis Rex for the Space Wolves?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got walls all over.
If you want to win,
he's
yeah.
on brand.
But like, yeah, when I saw Chaos Knight's book come out, I thought that looks really damn good. And then they did this new indexing for Imperial Knights. It's like, this is just flat breaking.
I just feel like the game scales weird.
Yeah.
So you have Kill Team, right, which is skirmishes of single squads. Cool.
Yeah.
You then arguably go up to combat patrol and or boarding actions. Little bit bigger, right? Boarding actions, there's no tanks and vehicles really, but it's kind of infantry heavy. Combat patrol, there is some vehicles. And then we go straight to 40k full size, 2,000 points, and everything's included. And I feel like we've missed a step.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Well, and in the past, you used to have 2k. There was no super heavies and stuff like that. And you'd have to play the bigger game like Apocalypse to get access to that. And now we had Strike Force and Incursion and whatever the fuck they were called. I feel like you could go, actually, if your game is 2,000 points or less, you don't include super heavies and flyers. The second you go above 2,000 points, the rules are the same, but you can then add in these super heavies and these flyers, which means when you go to a tournament, there's so many rock, paper, scissors matchups where you come up against a player who's just got knights everywhere. You're like, well, what do I do with this?
Yeah, I've never met anyone who says, yes, I love playing against knights. That's my favourite game. Everyone always just complains about fighting.
If I take 30 fire dragons,
yeah.
Well, I just don't know what you do.
All exalted 8-bound anti-monster vehicle 3+.
I don't know what you do against it. I suppose you just take 30 Wolfen.
30 Wolfen,
30 Thunderwolves.
Well, Wolfen are better at it.
Wolfen and
Arjak.
Arjak
is also very good against it.
Because, like,
to be fair, going from T10 to T9 is very nice for Space Wolves because, like, the entire Space Wolves range is like strength 5.
It also means the melter guns now actually wound them on 4s.
Yeah, and the World Eaters, which is like all strength 10, are much happier now.
It does make the anti-tank weapons a little bit more anti-tanky.
Yeah, that's
which is good.
Yeah,
like melters.
Yeah,
like the.
But I think what they've done. I think what they've done is they've backed themselves into a corner. So I think they've gone, there's a big imbalance here by having super heavies in the game.
Yeah.
We've made it a bit odd, right? And so how do we make it work? Yeah. And the way they made it work, drop the toughness, but then we have to drop the points.
Yeah.
And so Knights are now going almost, not quite, don't get me wrong, but it's almost the way of the Space Marines, which Space Marines for me shouldn't really be a horde army.
No.
The thing is, though, right? What's mental is they dropped the points by an insane level, but gave them more like 2 to 4 wounds. And the fact they still have that feel no pain is because that feel no pain equates essentially for more wounds.
God forbid they kill your warlord and then they have a 5-up feel no pain for the rest of the game.
Yeah, like if you're a combat army that wants to
make sure if you're going to a tournament, you are very careful about who your warlord is.
Right, my warlord is a lone up lieutenant who hides at the back.
He will be on my home objective for the entire game.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by infiltrators, so you can't get within 12 of them.
Yeah, and
because you have lost the game if they get a 5-up feel no pain.
Yeah, it's just obnoxious. I think there's gonna be a lot of feel bads for a while.
Do you think armies in Corona Palace, which is the 10th is the army size bloat edition? Do you think armies in 10th edition are too big, too small, or just right? Because I know for a fact that I've played with Eldar and I've been building lists with Space Wolves, or I've gone. I've said this on stream before. Eldar's a great codex for this.
Yeah.
Because you start putting stuff into your list and you get to a point where you get to 2,000 points and you're like, shit, there's other things I want to put in, but I haven't got the points for it. And so you kind of have to make compromises. I'm finding a similar, actually, thing with Space Wolves.
I've had that with Space
So
Wolves.
I think that would indicate to me that the army size is about right.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Right. So when I play, like when I play Dark Angels, like if I take the Dark Angels units, I run out of points insanely quickly.
Yeah, Dark Angels are hyper elite now.
The hyper elite, like even
Armigers are good, but are they 1 1/3 Lord Marshal Dreer good?
How is he still 100 points?
it's fucking
I swear someone at Games Workshop is just doing it for fun now.
Marshal Dreer is a 60-point character at best.
That's like, even that you might be like, nah.
That could be pushing it, Joe.
Yeah.
'Cause that's like the same as like horses, isn't it?
Well, the thing is though, he gives 1 unit dev and he can put 3 orders out, so he can make your
And he stands back up.
and he stands back up, but he can only join the shit version of the horses.
Yeah.
So great. But
yeah, so-
I think he's pointed under the assumption that someone thinks he can join Rough Riders.
I think they just
I
forgot
think.
to put a rule on his data sheet or something,
Yeah, that
and
he
they
can
just
join.
never realised.
Yeah.
And they still, like, maybe they were supposed to give him, like, Aura of Deceit or something.
Yeah, just something.
But
So
they were just like, nah.
so when I write like lists, like even like the Templars, I run out of points
Yeah.
really, really quickly.
Yeah.
But then you look at an army like Blood Angels,
Oh, yeah, the Blood Angels drops were fucking criminal.
or like someone at Warhammer World is not having a good time.
What did
Running
Paddy
Blood
do
Angels.
to
Well, Pewter
get
says
that?
optimal Blood Angel list runs 100 to 105 models right now at 2,000 points. That's a lot of Space Marines.
That's way
It's
too many.
insane. Like you almost ran out of fucking space writing Paddy's army list the other day.
I know.
For Blood
For
Angels.
Blood Angels, the
Right.
elite jump pack guys.
Like he also has like almost Horde Tau for an army that is made of Strength 8, Strength 9, damage-free guns.
Yeah, well, but that's
can
because.
have-
But the reason why they're Horde Town now is because they were fucking performing so badly, Joe.
Yeah,
they were terrible. For like
So they
months.
get more now.
yeah, but their army rule got better, but they also got cheaper.
They didn't not.
I
no,
think they're
not
cheaper,
all
but
of
they
them.
still get to. They still have fuckloads of stuff on the table.
They have loads of stuff,
but
yeah.
with a better army rule. A better army rule should have come with a slight points increase.
They did increase the points on a lot of like the main good stuff,
Yeah.
like the infiltrator dudes.
But then you look at someone like Emperor's Children, they don't get much anymore because they've got 4 really fucking good units. Because that's
Yeah,
the units
they-
that everyone's running, but the shit units didn't get cheaper.
They're in a really weird space now where like
Yeah.
if they get 1 more points increase, they're just fucked.
Yeah, I think they're doing too good at the moment because they're just winning tournaments.
They are.
Um,
It's because of those 3 data sheets.
Yeah, because
though.
I don't like Emperor's Children because I think it's just a really shallow kind
Yeah.
of hollow book. It's just I take the 4 best units, I fucking full pelt run at you, and then I kill you.
But Joe, who's to say whether sanguinary guards or flawless blades are better?
I think
As they are the same points now.
the fact that fucking Sanguinary Guard are what like 10 points more than Blade Guard now.
Well, I think blade guard are pretty cheap now.
No, Blade got down to 80.
Oh, they got cheaper.
That's another
they
reason.
got cheaper as well.
That's
didn't
another
they?
reason because they're very good in bloody.
They got to 80 and Sang got 110.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cheap now.
It's these are like, but it's also what's thing is though Blade Guard hilariously got cheaper because they're not very good in Space Marines.
That's the thing.
Apart from in Blood Angels where they're really really good.
Yeah, weirdly they get a lot better when you give them +2 strength, +1 attack on the charge.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Or fall back and charge,
And
re-rolling
reroll
all
ones
hit
for
and wound
everything,
rolls of
yeah.
1 and all save rolls of 1.
Funny that.
It's the problem is that the points are really good in some places, and then in other places it's just stuff is too cheap. Or
Yeah,
too
like
expensive.
I think Space Marines is obviously an insanely huge range.
But
So like there's a lot of times where the points don't
but,
make sense.
But their balancing is based off of official data that's given to them by tournaments.
Yeah, of
right?
course.
Yeah.
So they're always going to point everything off of what's doing incredibly well at the time. And if you make a points change, something gets worse, something goes down, something else comes up. So they're only able to realistically balance something that's got a high pick rate that's doing well and a high pick rate that's doing bad. The stuff that sits in the middle will inevitably rise higher the moment the thing above it gets dropped down.
Yeah.
So they're in this weird rotation of balancing in terms of like they can only balance what people are buying and playing with at the time.
Yeah, and then they can make changes to the things that aren't in that that aren't being picked, but then they could overcorrect. And normally you end up, especially if you look at a faction like Space Marines, you end up with so many data sheets that aren't really seeing any playtime at tournaments. What do you do with those? Well, the easiest thing to do really is to drop their points and see at which point they become usable. When they then suddenly become effective and people start using them, you then look at their rules.
Yeah.
So they almost point drop into kind of forcing people to take them.
Yeah.
Because like, fuck it, they're so cheap now, why wouldn't I take them? And when you see what they do on the table, go, okay, we need to change their rules now because they're too good or too bad.
Basically what happened with the entire Adamec range.
Yeah.
They just points dropped them again and again and again until they were basically like, here's 200 dudes that will have a 5-pin bun at OC2.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to win off points.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like later they're like, right, we actually need to do the changes now to the rules. This is like the most boring game we could ever play.
But then they point people out playing armies. So for instance, like the Black Templars got pointed to a level where no one was playing them anymore because all their characters and their special units were just like way too much.
Yeah, they were very expensive.
They're really, really expensive. Like Helbrecht, I think, was probably pointed correct because that guy's mental. But then the unit he joins is also insanely pointed.
His like full strength unit was close to 500 points at one point, and it was like they are only like toughness 4 dudes with 3 wounds and no end.
So if you're someone that plays tournaments, you're like, cool, I'll just put the Templars on the shelf and take Blood Angels now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
or Dark Angels,
and that's why they
Space Wolves.
the points drop. So I think so. Like going back onto the topic, when you live in this kind of realm of points dropping, points going down, rules balancing, a lot of units just fade into obscurity. So what is the point in them even existing in the first place?
Yeah.
So like the prime example is the unloved child that is Space Marine Reavers.
Yeah.
Beautiful kit. On the Excel spreadsheet that Games Workshop that look at to see if a unit is selling well, probably doing incredibly well still. Probably one of the best selling Space Marine units in the game because of their helmets, basically.
Well, this is the thing.
And they've got like a nice body. Like I really like the Reaver bodies. I use the Reaver bodies because like they're running cool poses for infiltrators because they're a bit more dynamic. So they sell well and they look great, but their rules are garbage. And Games Workshop won't touch their rules because they think that they're selling well.
But surely they don't do that. Surely they look at the spreadsheet of sales and go, Reavers are selling really well. And then they look in their tournament data and be like, but no one's got them.
I don't think anyone is doing that correlation. I don't think.
Do you not reckon?
I
Surely.
think they are.
I think Games Workshop, someone in the sales team has got a spreadsheet that goes, this is selling well. Good. We'll keep.
But didn't they get rules changes and then people started?
They got rules changes.
Yeah.
And then they probably sold more, and then they changed their rules in less than a week.
Did they?
Because they had a 6-inch aura of minus 1 OC, and then a week later changed it to 3 inches. People just stopped taking them immediately.
It's interesting.
Really
I
is
think
worse than 6.
before we jump in chat, if you guys have got opinions, do what everybody else has done. Stick them on postcards. We'll get to them. We're about to jump in and speak to you wonderful human beings as well.
The Blood Angels captain, the jump pack one, costs less than the captain on foot.
But and I'd love to know your opinions. My personal opinion on this, because I see it talked about quite a lot. My personal opinion is I don't like seeing anything taken out of the game. I think if it's an old kit, I would much rather see it refreshed than taken out. And I don't like the idea. I never like the idea that anybody ever has been able to buy a kit and make it whatever that might be, and then suddenly be like in a position where I can't use it anymore. If you think about things like the changes to Chaos Space Marines in 10th edition with the removal of all the Forge World stuff, I really hate the idea that it doesn't matter what they're buying or what they're using it for. It doesn't matter that I personally don't like fucking t-shirt launchers, for example, but someone else might love them, and that's why it's one of the reasons why this hobby's beautiful, right? Because taste is quite subjective. Yeah. And I don't like and this hobby's not cheap.
Like some people like it,
I never like the idea. Like I get the argument for removing flyers and knights. I do understand the argument, and perhaps they could put it over 2K. But I also don't like the fact that someone might have bought a knight army that's hundreds and hundreds of pounds, that they then could be in a position where well, I can't run it anymore because I'm not allowed to.
Yeah.
So I think that we fucking fuck off. We don't fuck off tournament play, but we don't need to remove kits based on tournament data.
Yeah.
Balancing kits based on tournament data, fine. Removing them, I think, goes a step too far. And I'd rather we just, in a game of what is sci-fi fantasy storytelling, we just had more and more and more options. I actually would like even more to get to a point where so many more options are viable. Because what happens when you see Blood Angels lists or Space Marine lists now? What like Space Marines are a great one. How many data sheets have they got? Like 90 plus data sheets. What do you see? The same ones in every army. You just do. And so you've got that much variety, but like 80 data sheets just don't get used.
Well, it's like because you've got the Land Raider, the Redeemer, and the Crusader, but you only see the Redeemer.
Yeah.
Especially in this building.
Especially, yeah.
Right.
How many Redeemers have we got now?
So there's one for the Space Wolves.
Yeah.
There's one for the Templars now.
Yep.
There's two for the Blood Angels.
Of course.
I do have another one at home,
Dark Angels.
which will probably go into the Dark Angels.
Yeah.
No, I've already put transfers on it. That's going on the Raven Guard.
Oh, okay,
So
right.
5, and there's probably more. But
always more.
there's a couple generic Land Raiders,
Yeah.
but there's no Crusaders in the building.
Are they
No,
just-
there is one for Space Wolves.
Is there?
But it's like
They're
there's
just bad,
there's
though.
3 versions of the Gladiator. I've never seen, apart from when they were mental at the start, like mid 9th edition. You don't see the Gladiator Reaper anymore. You only see the Lancer.
I've seen the Reaper a few times now.
Huh?
My intent with Wolves over time, and we're talking. This is me. We're talking a very long period of time.
Millennia.
But absolutely. But my intent with Wolves is I want to get to a point where I have at least one of every unit that Space Marines can take painted in Wolves colours. I want a Reaper, and I want a Lancer, and I want whatever the other one's called. I don't know what the other one's called.
Valiant.
The Valiant.
No one has ever seen a Valiant.
Well, I want a Valiant.
Yeah.
What's the Valiant got?
Last time,
It's
isn't it?
it's like, well, it might be last. I think
Is
it's
it
like
the Las Talon?
I think it's like the Predator Destructor. It's like the anti.
And
I think it's damage 3 AP 1 or something like that.
Let's have a little gander.
It's aggressively mid.
Soul says, as someone who worked in board game playtest and development years ago, the more elements balanced becomes less possible. The closer to perfectly balanced the game gets, the more boring it is. And
like chess.
I agree with you, and I don't want it to be boring.
No. I don't actually want a perfectly balanced game because that would be really boring.
So the Valiant is the worst version.
Yeah.
Because it's got the twin Las Talon.
That's it.
I want it.
I
enough.
like the concept of it. Right?
Is it the like strength 10 damage 3 one?
It's strength 10 minus 3 d6 plus 1, but it does also have
Is that the one with melters on it?
unit composition. Has 2 multi-melters. So the Black Templar version can have 3 multi-melters.
That is kind of cool.
I just think that the company itself needs to think about what it's releasing before it quite comfortably just takes things away from people.
Yeah, but also I think the reason why the Valiant is bad, right, is its actual datasheet ability is bad.
What is it?
So each time this model makes an attack with its twin Las Talon that targets the closest eligible monster or vehicle unit, add 1 to the hit roll. So why not just +1 to hit roll when it targets any monster or vehicle? Why does it have to be the closest?
Oh, I don't know.
Whereas the
You've got to get yourself in charge range.
Whereas the Lancer, its rule is you can re-roll a hit roll, a wound roll, and a damage roll.
And it just hits harder.
I mean,
and
the
it hits
Lancer
harder.
is just very good.
Yeah, the Lancer's the best one, I think.
But and it's like I don't think I've ever seen a Repulsor Executioner on the table. We have one.
Love an
I
Executioner.
have seen Repulsor Executioner. It's never gone well for the Repulsor
Yeah,
Executioner.
you take it for a meme. You
'Cause
take
it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love an Executioner.
James,
I want an Executioner flanked by 2 Lancers.
I love Company Heroes. No, I like taking them. But
They're
I don't
really
think-
good.
I don't think I see. You don't. Outside of Ultramarines, I don't think you see them.
I think
often.
they won LVO with them.
Yeah, you don't see the Humble Devastator squad anymore.
Is it LVO? Oh, yeah, different
Makes
one
me
actually.
sad. Eliminates eradicators. The fire strike servo turret can just get in the bin.
Brom takes it loads.
Rob loves it.
Brom is the only person. The fire.
Brom
He
is
puts
that
it in
meme.
the advance and shoot detachment.
The fire strike servo turret should exist as a piece of terrain and nothing else. The hammerfall.
Yeah, I was going to say the Hammerfall bunker that still can't deep strike.
Yeah, Jill is the only person on the planet that takes it.
Please give
and it should
give it deep strike,
and
please.
that should also just be a piece of terrain now.
It is basically.
It's cool. I
The
like it.
Invicta-
I want one for Space Wolves.
The Invicta. I've got 3 Invicta warsuits for my Raven Guard. I think it's one of my favourite, of the new
I do
walkers,
quite like that one.
but its rules are a bit meh.
It was really good in 8th and 9th for a bit, and then it got really bad in 10th.
Outriders live in a weird realm of they're a bit poo.
I think it's because they're massive.
Good on. It's because they're actually really cheap, right? Because they're 4 wounds, toughness 5, Space Marine for 80 points that moves really, really fast.
Well, you say that, but they can't go through walls.
Yeah, that's the
and you
biggest problem.
hiding.
I
is a nightmare.
really want Outriders to be good because motorbikes.
It's like the Storm Speeders, all 3. I really like the Hammer Strike. That's my favourite.
Yeah, I rate them.
Right, I think they're really, really good.
That's one you have for your Raven Guard, right?
But I've never seen a Hail Strike.
I don't even know what that one. To be fair, I don't know what most of the Space Marine one does.
The Hail Strike's got a shitty little Gatling cannon on it.
Is it like the anti-infantry one?
Yeah,
Right,
but it's not really anti-infantry because all infantry's got 2.
Yeah, but
wounds,
when they make an anti-infantry thing, it's always like damage 1, isn't it?
But then obviously you got the Stormhawk Interceptor, the Storm Talon gunship, which were really good in 8th edition.
I couldn't even tell you what they look like.
Little potatoes that fly around. Basically,
Oh, is it the old one? Okay, yeah. It's like a brick.
Like the
flies.
Storm Raven, all very.
Oh.
The Storm Talon and the Storm Raven, very iconic, very popular. But the problem is that, they're just.
I do kind of.
Invicta's literally won a super major event recently in Blood Angels. I mean, that's not the Invicta winning, is it? That's Blood Angels.
That's Blood Angels winning, isn't it?
I guess they would be if it's in the whatever the +2 strength one. It'd be strength 16 on its fist.
Yeah,
even though full back in charge, reroll
He
hits.
doesn't
and wounds.
reroll anything. It's not a character.
Boo.
But
And it doesn't fall back in charge actually.
But if
because,
you-
again, it's not a character.
But if you take it in the detachment where it gets +1 attack, +2 strength,
why is the
it goes.
Invicta?
It's 6 attacks at a strength 16. Then
Why is the Invicta stronger than Redemptor?
I don't know.
I almost said something which I can't say on stream.
It's,
Love that Kev says, love that you're listing every single unit I try and run. Now I know why I'm so shit. Anyway, like I said, chat, let us know what you think. First of all, we have to do a what's it called? A welfare check on Mr. the Matt O'Reilly. Because before the stream even started, Matt's clearly still struggling with his head injury because he gifted 50 of the finest memberships, Joe. 50 before the stream went live. And to give some context, we're currently on 66.
Oh.
So most of that happened before the stream even started. Thank you so much, Matt. You beautiful human for 50 gifted memberships.
I hope that you start breeding cows with fruit to make
What?
flavored milk that comes out of them.
What
Becomes
the
super rich.
Joe, run me through how a cow would breed with fruit.
It's got seeds in it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Put the seeds in the cow.
Yeah, of course,
Job
Tom.
done.
I don't know why you're even questioning it.
Fair enough. I don't know what I was
like-
thinking.
Like, I don't know.
Would you want,
gene splicing.
like-
I don't know.
Apple flavored milk though.
I was thinking like more popular flavors like strawberry, banana.
Strawberry milk, chocolate
Yeah.
milk.
Okay.
Chocolate's
Chocolate's not fruit,
yeah,
but-
technically it's just nut.
cocoa.
innit?
You
Oh,
put chocolate
yeah.
in a cow.
This is going to go a weird direction.
Yeah.
There are, right,
I got real weird.
I need to give you a warning here, Tom. There are a couple of occasions recently with Joe Hopes where we've almost got cancelled.
Oh dear. Are you running out? Is that why?
Yeah.
Thank you. Another pre-show gifter, Mr. the Clive the
Oh.
Kiwi. Thank you so much for 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Clive the Kiwi. I hope that they open a incredibly good and efficient KFC within a 5-minute walk of your house.
Pretty strong.
I am utterly off of all fast food at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm just not enjoying fast food. with the exception of KFC. I don't know why. I still have a hankering for KFC all the time. But if someone said to me, do you want a McDonald's or a Burger King or a Subway? I'm like, not bothered at all. But KFC, I fucking love it.
Isn't it?
I just love it.
I don't know. I can. If someone offered me a Big Mac, I would.
No, you see,
smash it.
I've got food in the fridge right for this afternoon. And if you were Tom was like, do you want McDonald's? I'm buying. I'd be like, no, I don't.
I can't now. I'm off.
Yeah, you're not allowed anything fun now.
All right, hypothetically, we'll talk about this in a second. Yeah. Hypothetically, Joe, that I would be like, no. But if you said, do you want KFC? I'm like, I'm probably in.
Well, yeah.
that's like my Achilles heel.
Five Guys.
No, I don't like Five Guys.
It's only,
I like Five Guys.
I love Five Guys, but it's pretentiously expensive.
It is insanely expensive, as I discovered.
I was going to say, I like Five Guys if someone else is paying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was, as you know, away for like a couple of weeks, and I was getting my food paid for some of it, and I was like, 25 quid in Mackey's goes a lot further than it goes in Five Guys.
Yeah.
In Mackey's, I was like, I've run out of stuff to buy at this point. I can basically buy the shop.
Well, it's like
a Big Mac is just not a good burger. It isn't. KFC's a lot better now. They've changed their chips. Their chips are great now.
Thing is, my issue with KFC is I'm still hungry afterwards. Every time I eat at KFC, I'm always like,
we're not doing it right.
I could probably eat another KFC.
4-piece meal with 4 hot wings. I'm always done after that.
But like
happy.
It's just I take things are all fast food apart from I wouldn't even class Domino's as a fast food because you have to wait like 40 minutes for it to turn up. But
I usually don't.
Domino's for me is more a takeaway than a fast food.
Yeah, I'd say takeaway makes more sense.
I just find that fast food, I still I like the taste of it. I could eat a lot of it, but afterwards you tend to feel like absolute shit afterwards.
That's true.
100%.
And I still feel hungry. I'm like, I want to eat more, but I know I feel like shit afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you try and have less of it, you're just still super hungry afterwards, and you just feel shit anyway.
Yeah. Does
this new change mean no like drive home nuggets anymore and stuff like that now? Oh dear.
It's a sad day for Joe.
Yeah. But you did your exercise bike this morning.
I did.
Nice.
My knee. I don't like cycling. I've not been able to do proper cycling for years. And it's not improved, if I'm honest. And my knee's fucking killing me. And the seat doesn't go up incredible. Basically, it was a free exercise bike I got a year ago, which is basically like everyone else's exercise bike, just become a clothes holder for a while. But I've realised the seat doesn't go up high enough, and my knee is killing me.
Yeah.
But I push through the pain. To do it, because for people at home, I have to get my hernia operation. I have to essentially lose 31 kilograms by March.
Yeah,
which is no small amount of weight to lose.
It's not the worst though.
It's like 4.5, 5 stone.
It's 10. It's 10 kilos every 3 months, which means so 30 in 9 months is 10 every 3 months. Yeah. Right. So it's not the worst.
It's not terrible.
That's quite a lot for losing like 5 kilograms a month.
3.3 kilos a month.
Is it? How many months is it until?
9 months.
Yeah.
9 months. Maybe. Yeah. Okay.
So 3.3 a month. So it's about a kilo a week, ish.
That is quite a bit.
It is a lot. It is a lot. To be fair, but I believe in you.
So it's basically I've got an exercise bike. Get up, do that. I'm doing like 10 kilometers for the first like couple of weeks just to
I'll confess as well, I almost made a big boo-boo. I told about this before we went live. Because I'd set my title of does Warhammer 40k need slimming down, right? Because to remove models. And I didn't think to start with. And I'd made my thumbnail at home. And I had a big picture of Sad Joe at the front. I just said needs slimming. And I was like, and then you posted about your fucking exercise bike in the chat. And I was like, that I
wouldn't have minded.
No, because it would have looked like a dig, and it's not. It was literally based on the title.
But I think after like 4 years, like you probably realise that I've never been a person that's like worried about talking about myself or my life. Or
no, granted, but I also want to be incredibly encouraging and helpful.
Yeah.
I don't want you to think it's too dated. I'm taking the piss. Yeah. So I changed the title.
It's also like I've talked to a lot of people. People are like, I've got like goals and like, and sometimes you got to have like a treat every once in a while.
100%.
Yeah,
So basically, I've got the AOS golden ticket in a month's time. So that's basically like get to there, because when you're away for a weekend, you're not eating.
If you
incredibly
dropped
well.
4 or 5 kilos by that weekend, and then you went, I'm going to enjoy myself this weekend, you're not putting 4 or 5
According
back
to
on.
my,
Unless you really try.
Oh, you'd have to really
You'd
try
have to
though, right?
really, unleash.
so
Yeah.
Someone's put it into freedom units.
I don't.
But according to my scales, I've lost like 3 since yesterday. So either it's misread this morning or I misread yesterday.
Don't measure on a daily basis, or if you do, take an average over the week.
So what I've done is I've just done an Excel spreadsheet, put the date in for yesterday, and just gone boop all the way to the 1st of March. And then I'm gonna weigh myself every day, because then I can see like the
go for an average, because if you are you weighing yourself same time every day as well?
Yeah, get up, peep, poo,
Weigh in just your pants. Good.
naked.
Fine.
Full naked.
That's also fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I've known people before that will weigh in the morning and then weigh in the evening. But like, oh my god, there's a massive difference. Like, of course there is.
I don't like the
Because you've
concept.
just eaten your entire day.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, because it's like people like weigh every couple of days or once a week, and it's like you could weigh a week later, but you had like a big meal that day, kind of thing, or whatever. And
Yeah, it can change a
throws your
lot in
numbers
like
off.
24 hours.
Whereas if you do it every day, you see.
I'll start weighing every day with you. We'll just message each other. I'll do it with you.
Well, I'm just putting it into the Fanes group.
The way.
I could do my weigh.
I don't mind. I'm here for you, mate. I'm here to help.
I don't know.
I'm here to be encouraging.
Well, I don't need to know how much you weigh.
Hey?
I don't need to know how much you
Yeah,
weigh.
but I also want to drop weight anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes more sense. Because you'd be like, ha, I'm lighter than you.
Well, no, I mean, I already am, but
Yeah, so
that's not the point, though, is
but
it?
it's just one of those things. Yeah.
It's the point is where you are, where you want to be, and working towards that. It doesn't matter who's heavier or lighter. That's not what it's about.
But yeah. So now I'm just eating healthy shit, and I don't like it.
So the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've changed a lot of my diet to healthy shit, and I started off thinking it sucked. Now I'm starting to quite enjoy it.
Well, I've really I've already because I think I've got a bit of a wheat intolerance or whatever. Or gluten. I don't know what it is, but basically every time I eat bread, I feel like crap afterwards.
It'll be gluten.
I've
I've
cut out bread, or like over the last month essentially. Now it's just a case of just not eating shit.
So around our age, it's all coming for you, Tom, in the future. You become more gluten and normally lactose intolerant. And what I've found is it's like your tolerance is like a cup, right? And if you eat loads and loads of gluten, your cup fills up, and when it overflows, you have a flare up.
Yeah.
As long as you keep it below the full line, you're okay. So I now, if I have like a bready lunch, I won't have anything bread for the rest of the day, and I'm fine. And that's how I manage it. But
Rambo says I shouldn't weigh myself every day. But I feel like...
Well, it's just... I think doing it every day gives you the most reliable number, doesn't it?
Well, it's also like... I need that... It becomes part of my routine.
Habit, yeah, 100%.
So, like, I need to... I don't have a routine. I'm starting a routine. So if I literally wake up, go to the toilet, like, weigh myself, get a drink, do bike, eat food...
Yeah,
and then I do that every single day, and then becomes a routine. And like I've got doing like planning, walking routes and stuff.
Yeah, it's top.
So that's,
10,000 steps a day is equivalent to about 4 miles ish.
Yeah, I was talking.
No, about 5 miles.
I was talking to this about getting a Fitbit. We've got a Fitbit at home, but we don't know where the charger is, and it's quite old.
Yeah, you can get them quite cheap now.
Yeah,
I often have my Apple Watch on.
But I've
tracking it on.
I've got a step counter on my phone, but the problem is I have my phone on the table a lot.
Yeah,
it doesn't really work.
Yeah,
100%.
Doesn't really
Fitbits are great. I've got, like I said,
I've got a Fitbit.
I've got an Apple Watch which does all the steps and stuff. And you can record exercising and stuff like that. And the problem is with me. I say problem. This isn't a problem. When I started to set, because you can set like step goals, you can set like stand goals and calorie burning goals. The issue is, I then start getting obsessed by it, and I'm like, I have to hit the goal every day. And if I get to the end of the day, I'm like, I haven't hit the goal. I'm like, Luce, I'm just going out for a walk. It's like it's 10 o'clock at night. What are you doing? I'm like, okay, get him in.
But I'm the kind of person that like I need to do, because I'm like, I'll wake up in the morning, like say I'm not here, I'm not in the studio, so which is basically if I'm not in the studio, it's it's one of 5 days a week basically.
Yeah.
I'm only here 2 days a week. I'll wake up and I'll do 8 hours work, and then
In quite a sedentary role.
Sometimes I'll get up and have a waddle around the house, make tea or whatever. Right, and then we'll do dinner. And if the missus hasn't taken the dog out for a walk, I'll take the dog out for a walk. But she's old now, so
Mrs. of the dog.
and so we walk. We've got a mile that we walk with the dog.
Yeah.
Because she's old and arthritic now, so it's like we do that mile walk, and we know that's enough for the dog, right? And then I come home, and then we'll either watch TV, play games, or just do more painting. So I spend all my time sat down. So if I have a thing on my wrist that says that you've walked a mile, you've done 5,000 steps, but you need to do 10,000, then I know that I could take the dog home and then do it again.
Yeah.
So my partner Tamsin was saying that we do the dog walk, she drives the dog home, and then I do a different walk.
Yeah, I've also got I've got an app that a website that I can send you, and it's great because you plot your little route on the map and it tells you exactly how far it is.
Well, I've got what's it called? There's an app, the walking app. What's it called? Strava.
Strava.
Sure,
Strava's really good.
I've got Strava. Strava's
Yeah,
good.
Strava's really good. I use that. But the problem about Strava, because everyone's like, I use Strava to do your walk every time. But once I figured out the maximum distance I needed to do to hit a specific target, I was like, I don't need to track it anymore.
Yeah.
Because I know that that's it.
People get like super competitive on Strava as well. Like, I ran this in this.
And I don't understand people that follow other people on Strava.
It's like Instagram for exercise.
I'm going to follow Janet, who's taking her dog for a walk every day.
It's just people like giving. So a lot of it's about. It's their version of liking is giving kudos on Strava.
Yeah.
And it's just about encouragement. When you get into that world, and a lot of people enter into that world quite nervous and quite socially anxious about it, because normally if you're coming into that world for the first time, it's because you're overweight and you want to drop weight or you want to build muscle, whatever it is you might want to do. And a lot of people enter those worlds quite nervous, and then when you get in that world, you realize that for the most part, actually, it's full of encouraging people that are like, "Come on, mate, let's go for it."
Yeah.
And I think that's it's quite important to realise that. But a lot of people struggle to start with. Lucy's like it. She's like, I don't want to go in a gym because I don't want to be red faced working out in a gym because I look a mess. I'm like. Everyone's red-faced working out in the gym, though.
Also, no one pays any attention to anyone else when they're.
Oh, my headphones are in. Oh, that's me.
Like, I barely notice there's anyone there.
The thing is, though, you can't do gym exercise and look around the gym anymore either. I am a serial people watcher as well.
Is that what you call it?
Not. It used to be pervert.
The courts called it something else when they gave you a restraining order.
I'm the kind of person that's more than happy to sit. Like when I lived in Salisbury, I used to go to the same coffee shop all the time on my days off. Especially like at winter, it's like it's got great massive windows. You could literally just sit there, and it's like some kind of animal documentary. You just see the creatures of Salisbury on their daily lives, kind of thing. So at the gym, sometimes you look around like, oh, what's that person doing? What's that person? Because I've been inherently poor forever, right? So what I used to do when I go to the gym, like 8 years ago, I couldn't afford a PT.
Yeah.
So what I used to do is lovely personal trainer there called Martin. I figured out his daily timings for his sessions.
Did you just follow him
like a weird stalker?
No, because basically I knew because he always had the same bookings in the evening. So I'd finish work, go to the gym, and I'd always be 2 machines behind him, whoever he was training that day. So I was learning. Like
you
routines
were just
through
copying
watching.
whatever program was going.
Yeah, so whatever that person or whatever size and shape they were doing, I was just doing that person's routine, right?
Funny.
And that's how I got to Healthy Sexy Joe from years ago. People have seen the pictures. I was the fittest I've ever been in my life. So, but I can't. But it's a different time now. If you sit in the gym and then watch people, right, and then copy what they do,
You'll get arrested again.
You get arrested. You know, you'll end up like I'll be in some person's video, and then Joey Swole will comment on it. You know?
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, I'm just in the gym learning to see what other people are doing.
Amazing.
But for
Is
TikTokers,
that,
they'll
keep
be
to that
like,
argument, yeah.
yeah, this fat hairy man was watching me, and just stay away from him.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, mate.
I'm gonna go for a wee now. It's been more than an hour. That's
Yeah.
also the downside of being semi-healthy.
What?
Well, it's just weird all the time.
Yeah, I said this to Lise yesterday. I've drunk less tea, coffee, and sugary drinks, and back on the water again, as you can tell by my water bottle right here. Which at the moment, for the first few days, just means you piss like a racehorse.
Yeah.
You piss like Joe, quite literally, because you're like, oh, it's just full of water all the time. Can't casually stalk people anymore. Its political correctness has gone mad. Exactly.
Yeah, it is too far, really. If I can't stare at someone for 3 hours in a gym, what kind of world do we live in?
And the thing is, as well, the biggest problem is the things that some people wear in the gym nowadays.
To be fair,
you actively have to try and look away.
People don't really wear clothes in the gym anymore.
No, it's kind of optional extra now.
Yeah, it's like, you could, but why would you?
Yeah, it's an interesting time. Evan, thank you for the one gifted. You're a legend. Thank you very much. Lord of Cinder, thank you for the $5. Due to Luce's slight on me yesterday, Joe is now the favourite. Joe, how does it feel to be number one? What was Luce's slight? What did she say? I want to know, Lord of Cinder. What did she say to you? I'm keen to understand what her slight was. She didn't really talk all stream because she was sat there knitting.
Oh,
So
don't know. Maybe she slipped it in where you were noticed.
she did, however, think that Alaska was part of Canada, which is a strong.
It's pretty close.
I mean, yeah,
Pretty.
You can see why.
It's very cold and wintry.
Yeah, and literally like level with Canada.
Yeah, and it is basically Canada.
So I kind of get it, but
Yeah, but because of its resources, it's America.
yeah, pretty much bought off the Russians.
Yeah.
Clive, thank you for the $5. Awkward moment. Warhammer World still has collector's edition of Blood Angels in stock. I believe there were 2 on the shelf. That surprises me. Because they're definitely
Collector's
not.
edition of Blood Angels.
Yeah, the Codex. I assume you mean.
Oh, right.
Or is it the box?
Could be the box.
Either would surprise me though. To be fair,
because that sold out real quick.
it's a good box.
It's all right, yeah.
I don't know about I don't know what the Codex looked like, but I'd imagine it was quite pretty.
It was pretty cool, I think. It's not Spaceballs, but what is?
It's not Space
Yeah.
Wolves. That's right, Tom. That's right. Selfie stick should be banned in the gym, 100%.
Oh, any filming of yourself, unless you're literally a professional trainer, like, just don't do it in the gym.
Oh, because she refused to wish you happy birthday. Lord of Cinder's birthday yesterday.
Oh, well, happy birthday for yesterday.
Yeah, what a legend. And Luce refused to wish him happy birthday.
Why?
Because she doesn't like to do anything on Monday night streams.
Oh, right.
It's her hobby night. She just sits there hobbying.
Just sits.
She doesn't even put her computer on and read chat until chat start talking about it, and then she pulls it up on her phone because she can't help herself. I'll ask him when he comes out, Lord of Cinder, as to whether he's happy being the favourite or not. But what we'll do is we'll tell him it was your birthday and see if he sings it.
I assume Joe just assumes he's the favourite.
He does
Yeah.
all the time with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we get RIP Grey Knight again, please, lads? We've talked about it earlier. It is an RIP.
Oh, yeah. I feel me and Joe talked about Grey Knights earlier, and we're just saying it's like they're in such a depressing situation now.
Yeah.
Where they just have to wait for another 3 years to maybe get a range update.
They do.
You don't even know if they will.
Yesterday was Lord of Cinder's birthday, Jay.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah. He says, due to Luce's slight on me yesterday, Joe is now the favourite. Joe, how does it feel to be number one?
It's good. It's good to be king. Well, what's Luce done?
She refused to sing happy birthday to him yesterday on his birthday after he gifted 10 members because it was his birthday.
I feel like that's surprised with Luce, actually.
She doesn't do anything on a Monday.
No?
No.
Just
Monday,
sits there.
she just sits there knitting, and she's like, she doesn't do any of the bits that she normally does on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Why is
flat
she there
refuses. I don't know. And she just sits there concentrating on knitting, and I talk to her like this and say something, and it's just silence.
Well, why is she sitting in the living room?
That's a bit.
There's like more comfortable chairs in. Because her computer chair looks like she's pulled out of landfill.
I know. And she won't let me replay. Thank you, by the way, because they won't have seen it.
It looks like a bear has had angry sex with it, and it's awful.
Well, the chair on Luce.
It looks like Luce had angry sex with that chair.
Oh right, okay.
I think no, I'm not quite. She's not a bear, but that's the most.
Do you know?
It's the kind of chair like a poor student would have found on the street and been
Be
like,
like, score, yeah.
yeah, free chair.
Yeah.
Brought it in, let it dry off.
Yeah, yeah.
I did that.
Like hoovered all the mites off.
Yeah.
Yeah, wipe off all the cum.
Yeah.
Sean, Stick Monkey, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stick Monkey. I hope that in this Space Marine update thing that may or may not be happening,
Space Marine 2.
you get tyrannic war veterans. It's more of a hope for myself, but I hope
As
you
so
get-
many are.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, that's most of them.
If tyrannic war veterans get a kit,
Yeah.
prepare for Ultramarines coming.
That puts us on 76 total members. Well, that doesn't. There's more to come.
76.
That puts us on 76 members, chat. You're 5 away from beating the last night crew. Pridders, thank you for the $2. He says, unsure if 40k needs slimming down, but I sure do. Well, I mean, I'd cuddle you. But, you know.
I think we just get rid of all the resin and fine cast.
I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
But
like
quicker.
So with the Drakari update, right? I think because the grotesque is a single model that you can take 30 of. So I imagine they'll get a plastic grotesque.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Right.
Kajukari is like such a weird range at the moment.
But I imagine unless it comes out as an actual Kill Team box set, I reckon Court of the Archon's just gone.
They already got like kill team stuff though, so like I feel
Yeah,
like
they've got Mandrakes.
Yeah.
Which is a good kill team.
They're really good,
And
yeah.
then they've got the
there's another one, isn't
Cabalite Warriors one, which is a bit poo.
there? Yeah, but like there's so much of their stuff that you either can't buy it or it's resin or it's
Yeah.
fine cast or we have to buy one for a squad of 10 or whatever, and it's like
Yeah.
they're in such a mess at the moment.
They need
They need a full
need help.
redo.
Also,
essentially.
if they don't get a plastic Euron Rakarth model,
Who's
might
he?
be amazing. So there's three named characters.
like-
Three named characters for
Yeah.
Drakari, and he's the rack one. So there's
Is he
the Rax
like
one.
the medic guy.
Yeah, with all the
Yeah.
arms.
Yeah,
He's the
yeah,
homunculus
okay,
coming.
Yeah, he's the
So
homunculus
Lilith is
one.
the witch cult, and
Yeah,
she's got one.
Lilith.
Drazar is kind
Drazar.
of the...
He's Drazar's the incubi one.
Yeah.
And then
Are they ever gonna get their big leader guy back as well?
Asphodel Vect.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope so.
I hope so.
Because he used to be on like a big.
So they
flying
what's weird is
thing,
they
didn't
kind of teased it in 8th edition.
Asphodel Vect.
So because they teased it because when they were bought out,
He's not dead, is he?
no, because he's in charge. He's the big.
Yeah,
he's
because
the big
I
dog.
thought he was. Yeah.
He is when in 8th edition they bought in they're called the big heroes, the leaders. You could take the supreme commanders.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So like Gilliman was a supreme commander.
Bobby G.
And they were like, every faction will have a supreme commander released. And if you can imagine, if you can think of who it would be, they'll probably get a kit.
Yeah.
And I think like in the video, so they were like, like if it was Drakari, it'd be like someone like Vect.
Yeah.
And then he never appeared.
I think they just gave up on it.
I think he'll come actually.
I reckon he'll.
He's always coming.
But if you think about it, so many factions now have a big bad. Right?
Yeah, it's tough to think of one that doesn't, apart from like Votan or something. But Votan are like a brand new army.
Thank you, Limey Panda, for the $5. Hello, handsomes. Nice to see Tom back. The backlash would probably have been significantly less bad if the AOL release wasn't so doggers. AOI release?
The what?
AOL release.
Age of Imperium.
Agents of Imperium, yeah.
Age of Imperium was just a massive waste of time.
It was a complete dropped ball.
Waste of time, waste of money, waste of resources.
It just missed all of the. Basically, it was a consolidation of all the kill teams to give them rules.
It was just like his 20 kill teams
Yeah.
and sisters for some reason.
But it kind of missed out all the units that it should have had.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it should have had the strike team in it. It had henchmen, but it didn't like inquisitorial stormtroopers. There's an entire military aspect of the Imperium which is all about supplying stormtroopers to the Inquisition, and they didn't have them.
Yeah, because imagine if they actually did put like all the Grey Knights in, all the Death Watch in, all of the Imperial stuff that you could have, Inquisitors, agents, whatever. That's actually pretty cool.
It had the potential to be a really good book.
Yeah, they could have just slapped some knights in there as well.
Burn says, why do YouTube live streams crap out on me at least twice a stream, force me to reload? Is it a YouTube thing on me? It's a YouTube thing. They're aware of it. I raised tickets with them ages ago. I haven't chased it for a while, but it's definitely a YouTube thing. And I know that because lots of people in the chat also have the problem, and I also have the problem at home. I don't have it here, but I do have the problem at home as well. So it's a known issue. It's about live chat. If you have it on top chat over live chat, it's normally a bit better, but it is a YouTube issue. So, thank you so much, Tank the Unknowing, for the $5. With regards to last night, no Stern or Drago on Games Workshop. Only Grey Knight characters with official models are Crow, well, also with the Voldus and a Grandmaster Dread Knight, nor Banisher. Big cuts coming to Codex. I can't see them being cut. I can't see them taking Drago out of the Codex.
I mean, the thing is, though, I also said I can't see them not getting a range update.
I mean, yeah, well, fair.
That's where
Touché.
I'm at such a low bar with Grey Knights now. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they lost units.
I wouldn't be surprised if they lost them.
Yeah.
Drago and Stern, and they... Because I've said this many times, is 10th edition is the edition of Lost. This is the edition of Games Workshop just cleaning out all the cobwebs.
But the thing is, they released, and I know it's a while ago, but they released Castellan Crow as a new model, right? And I think we can all agree that Castellan Crow as a model is very pretty.
It's incredible, yeah.
And if you took that model and you scaled the rest of the Grey Knight range up to Castellan Crow size, I think most people would be quite happy.
Everyone would be happy.
Do you not think they would have showed it off when they showed off the...
Joe, I think a lot of
upgrade
things.
Sprue.
Yeah, I think a lot of things about Games Workshop. Well, I said this last night. Like, Crow comes out, and I think a lot of Grey Knight players go, more of that, please, and we're really happy.
Yeah.
And people that aren't Grey Knight players go, yes, that's cool. Right?
They said a hell of a lot.
And then they got nothing forever. And I think most of us assumed that would be the start of a new Strike Squad kit. Yeah. And as I said last night, realistically for Grey Knights, they sell 3 kits. Dread Knights, Strike Marines, Terminators. And that makes all of their data sheets. They haven't got to do a vast amount of updating. So I think most of us thought, here comes the start of super cool Grey Knight stuff. We love it. Hear nothing for years to find out that your thing this edition, isn't even a model. It's an upgrade sprue. And that's all you're going to get. That's the first swift kick to the left testicle. Yeah. And then this new combat patrol is finishing the job by kicking the right testicle.
Yeah, because that fully 100% confirms that, like, there's nothing new.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Yeah, so I think the 2 resin kits will just go.
I think that... Yeah, like, I would have 100% thought before any of this came out, they'd be like, yeah, everyone's getting an update, getting... Like, the 3 kits are getting redone. Drago might have got redone as well. They might even add a new character.
Do you think they'll still keep hold of the Redeemer and the Crusader and the Razorbacks? Or do you reckon they'll clear them
Razorbacks, I think
Razorbacks will go. Yeah. I think Land Raiders are too iconic.
I don't know.
I reckon they'll keep the generic Land Raider and bin the other 2 off. Just to really upset them.
I do think Razorbacks going, Rhino staying.
Yeah.
I can.
Someone at Games Workshop just hates Grey Knights.
Well, the thing is, though, like, I've always felt that Grey Knights had too much access to too many things.
I don't know. They have like 4 things.
Because, like, their current index, they've got the Storm Ravens, the Storm Talons.
Do they?
Yeah, they've got access to all the planes, all the vehicles. They've got like
the vehicles no one
4
takes.
different versions of Dreadnoughts and the
I forgot they had the old box noughts.
They got so much stuff, and I'm like. But what makes them famous is the different types of Strike Squad.
And the baby carrier.
Yeah.
Nick the Salamander, thank you for the $5. Yes, but are you going to be the person to tell someone they can't use the models they paid thousands of dollars, spent hundreds of hours working on? Well, this is exactly my point earlier. I don't like the concept that anyone can spend a lot of money and time and effort on kits to then find out they can't use them. And we saw the fallout with the whole... I mean, that was probably the record speed on the channel that I used the C word. Because I was so angry...
Horus Heresy, Heresy.
When 10th edition came out and they removed all the heresy stuff and all of the Forge World stuff.
That was a swift kick in the nuts.
It was horrible. And it didn't impact me that much. It impacted me a little bit because I had Decimators and I had a Leviathan. Yeah. It impacted Joe a fair amount. It impacted some people in chat loads. I don't like it.
And the thing is, though, it wouldn't have been so bad if they'd told people 6 months earlier,
there was that.
Not a week before the edition went on pre-order.
And there was also the fact that weren't they basically selling when the plastic heresy kits were coming out? They were basically like, you can use these in 40k as well.
The marketing still said that when they said you can't use them anymore.
And then they were literally like, snap decision, it's all gone.
But the new Lancer Knights, the new Cerastus Knights, they're still available to use for
now.
For now.
I personally am never buying Forge World or Horus Heresy for 40k.
The Chaos Knights can use them still, can't they?
Yep.
I believe so.
Caroline, thank you for the $5. I wouldn't be shocked if in 11th edition the Space Wolves, Black Templars, Blood Angels, Dark Angels are treated like World Eaters, Emperor's Children, Death Guard, Thousand Suns, where they become full codexes with just some things from the base book.
That's what they should be.
I agree. I'd like that, actually.
Yeah, I think because Space Marines at the moment, we touched on this earlier, Space Marines' biggest problem at the moment is Blood Angels. Because everything is better in Blood Angels.
Yeah, when you say blanket +2 strength and attack on the charge, that massively changes every melee profile.
Yeah, because Assault Intercessors with jump packs
go to strength 10 and strength 6 on respective weapons, which is huge.
And they go from 3 attacks to 4 attacks or 4 attacks to 5 attacks, and then, so they're pointed as a unit towards Blood Angels. And I thought when the Blood Angels Codex came out that we would see a Blood Angels version of all the Intercessors to help them balance them as a faction, and they didn't. And I think it's mad that they didn't.
Yeah, I think the main issue they have is balancing them between 7 different armies essentially in the same unit.
That's the thing, isn't it? An Assault Intercessor in Space Wolves does something different to what it does in Blood Angels, does something different to what it does in.
And I don't think that Space Wolves or Templars should have access to the generic Intercessors, because they've got the Blood Claws, Grey Hunters, and the Crusade Squad. They have access to an equivalent of it already, and it would help make them more. They would make them more of a specialist army compared to normal Marines.
Yeah, because ultimately, if you have access to everything, it becomes the what's the most efficient.
I would rather the split off chapters be more unique.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm into it. Thank you, Kazarian, for the 10, for the yellow one. Idea. You can run Templars under Space Marine rules with Gladius, etc., but you can only take up to a quarter of your army size in an allied force without them getting Oath Space Marine army rules. Not unlike Chaos Mono God Legion. I think I get what you're getting at here. I think what he wants you to do is, if you're taking Templars, you only get a quarter, but you're running Gladius, only a quarter of your units can be Templar-specific units, and they don't get the army rule.
I'd rather see just a flat split, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm
being totally honest.
I don't hate the idea, but I think I would just see,
because
two different.
Obviously we've been looking at Space Wolves now, and I think we all come to the same conclusion that Gladius is the best technical way to actually run them. But I'd probably rather try just use the Space Wolves attachment.
Yeah, I will use the Space Wolves ones, but I think competitively,
it's just because Gladius is probably the best attachment in the game.
Gladius is just a Swiss army knife.
It's literally anything. You want to advance and charge? Cool. You want to fall back and charge? Cool. You want to advance and shoot? Cool.
It's just the new Dark Angel attachment I really, really like.
It is good.
It's incredibly good. But then I'm but that advance and charge army-wide, fall back and charge army-wide.
Well, yeah, because you basically
on death.
You get your war turn, you get your fallback and do whatever you want.
Yeah,
I don't shoot anything.
I never have to worry about devastated doctrines. I don't really run any guns.
Yeah, and then if you really, true. But then if you really want to, you can just put one of the units into advance and charge again.
Yeah, so it's
which is great.
It's just really good. I'm joking on the insanity of it.
Please don't die on work time.
Why?
You might get some views.
It just hurts my insurance premium.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Might do on purpose then.
Thank you. Anyway, Nick, thank you for that, for the yellow one. Lively Panda, thank you for the $5. I think the objective of GW is to represent 40k as a competitive game. The number of armies and models need to shrink down.
I don't think they are anymore.
I think they've gone through that.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave you to talk about it because I'm going to do a joke and go for a little
I think with this the newest, whatever it's called something boring now, isn't it?
The
chapter-approved mission deck.
Yeah. They seem to be actually trying to make some steps towards less competitive play.
Yeah.
With the twists, which are all mental.
Yeah,
And
love the
the new mission styles. I don't like
Yeah.
asymmetric deployments and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
they're actually catering to a more casual play style and a more fun.
And they're catering
Play
to 1,000 points as well. There's like specific missions
Yeah,
just for
you've got
1K games.
The actual deck for it specifically is in there.
Yeah.
And I think they've realised that the competitive market is huge, and it's also driving the numbers in terms of where they get data from.
It is the
But
big
it's
money.
But it's not the highest percentage of play, or it's not the highest percentage of the hobby base as a whole. Because I
Do you not think?
no, because I think the competitive scene is one aspect of the hobby in general. There's people that buy the models, build them, and paint them, and don't even play. There's people that just buy the models and paint them, and then just
Yeah,
sell
I
them
guess
on.
if you
Right.
were like competitive compared to literally everything else,
Yeah.
it would be smaller.
Like if there was I'd love to see a realistic pie chart in terms of the entire community as a
Like
whole.
just like competitive play, casual
Yeah.
play, hobbying. Just like I don't know what else is there like.
Converting,
Converting stuff,
designing
reading.
stuff. There's people that just like to buy and make dioramas.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I think the problem is that the way the internet talks about the hobby is that they think that Games Workshop sees a pie chart of the hobby and 95% of it is the competitive people.
Yeah.
And that's what I think the most vocal part
I
of
think
the
it's
internet thinks
because-
that Games Workshops.
The thing is because
like-
the most articles that come out are about competitive,
Well,
but that is mostly because they have to update that more than anything else.
but any and all, if there is a way to play against another human being, a community will always trend towards a competitive style.
Yeah,
because
because people want to
win.
win at the end of the day. People don't like losing most of the time.
Yeah, like there's no fun narrative version of Call of Duty, is there?
No,
At the end of
God,
the day.
there's casual.
There's casual, but it's
It's
not
not really casual anymore.
because the people that play casual it's still there is a winner and there are losers.
I
Yeah.
think so. Dan's corrected me. He did say I think if the objective of Games Workshop is to represent 40k competitive game, the number of armies and models needs to shrink down, and I would agree with that as a statement. But I also think that you're right. I don't think that's. I think they went down that route. I think they kind of put themselves back onto.
Yeah, I think
They're
I think-
making
path
steps
now.
towards more casual play, definitely.
Yeah.
Run my clock. Thank you for the $5. I'm still waiting for my Emperor's Children pre-order. Hurry up and cast more Lucius minis, Games Workshop. No one needs 300 different Captain Lieutenant models.
Do they not?
Lucius is been out of stock since like the day they launched it.
And I think
As
think
soon as
he's
they're
come back
in stock, they're out of stock again.
Yeah, I think it comes in and then goes straight away.
Well, they've still not released the Slaughterbound guy for World Eaters.
No,
Sad.
they have. You can buy them as a box of 3.
That's true.
Called 8
Yeah.
pack.
Yeah, true. I mean, that is what mine is. Yeah.
What was the other box set that came out at the same time? What came out as well? Oh, because there's the Nurgle guy as well.
Oh, yeah, the stupid T-Sum robots.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I've got to basically wait another 3 months before I can get hold of
More Ravenous.
Raveners.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like
but
there
you,
are.
yeah, but you want like 30.
So I was looking at the
Shocker.
Element website because they've got like 10 plus boxes of Raveners on there, but they're the old ones. And I'm like, do I want to buy 5 boxes of Raveners as the old ones? But that's going to cost me like 160 quid for 15. And I'm like, no, because it's not going to cost me 160 quid to buy 3 boxes of 5 when they come out.
Yeah, well, probably will be
100,
like...
it'd be like 120.
Yeah,
I imagine,
120.
like 40 quid a box. Or 47. It's a kill team, isn't it?
Kill
It'll be
team-
fucking £47.50.
Yeah, standard price now for Kill Team is $47.50.
But Element will be cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it'll be like...
I still won't have to pay that
still
much
be like
money.
40
But
quid,
it's
but
just
yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I am happy that you are feeling the pain now of having your new codex in a fancy box set.
Oh, Space Wolves. I mean, I've only painted 3 of them anyway.
Yeah,
so,
I'm not feeling any pain at all.
I mean, like, I'm just playing World Eaters all the time anyway because their codex just came out.
But it's just the annoyance of being excited about it and
It
having
is,
to do it
I
all
will say,
on
like,
pen
it is
and
a
paper.
fucking pain in the arse trying to write a list for anything.
That's what spreadsheets are for.
I know, but it's way more annoying.
I mean, it is way more annoying.
Yeah.
That's a fact. But I just use a spreadsheet and
I do as
get
well.
sums.
But
I can teach you how to sum 7 days and make an average. And I don't know, you probably could do it anyway. To be fair, if you wanted to just see your average weekly
What I
weight
want
loss.
to do is do a is have it because I'm going to play around with it because I'm always trying to learn new things on Excel. I want to have it so it's color coded. So like with like a little arrow, and then have like green, red, green.
What
red.
for how up or low?
Yeah.
Yeah, my weight loss one already does it. You could do it.
And do that. Like I've got the app.
There's quite a long formula that I wrote for it.
Yeah.
So if and then it compares and yeah. But you can definitely do it. If statements are quite easy. Thank you so much, Mr. Sven Holio, for the $5. Losing models is crap. Basing choices on tournament play is even worse. Complain about the rules, not the model. Competitive play should be separate. Losing models is always going to be crap.
Yeah, it never feels good.
Basing choices on tournament play depends on what choices you mean. So if you're basing keeping or getting rid of models based purely on tournament play, I think you're right. I think that is crap.
Yeah.
If you're basing making rules different based on tournament play, I think that's probably the only real data they've got
But also like
to make a balance.
I think rules changes, they realistically have to base
like-
off tournaments, don't they?
But the problem is like people buy models predominantly because of rules, and I think the worst thing that can ever happen to you is your unit have shit rules, so no one buys it. Games Workshop then think it's not very popular, and then bin it off.
Yeah.
Right, and
Could
I think that's the curse of like what a lot of like the Forge World units for armies that aren't heresy. So if you look at like Tyranids, for instance, like they kept the Hierophant and the
Is that the really big
and the
one?
Harridan, yeah.
Yeah.
But then the Hierodule went, you know.
Which Joey loved. He loved his
I
Hyrule.
fucking love the Hierodule. Not incredible rules, but good enough that you put it on the table and it still felt like you had some kind of return
Yeah.
on it. But when you have units that have really bad rules, they don't sell very well, and then they just kind of go away.
Yeah.
Like you look at the entire range of Chaos Space Marine stuff that was in Forge World. They're like it lives in Heresy now, and it's like, but if it had 40k, if its rules in 40k were better, it would have sold better and then would have stayed.
I don't know
I
if
don't know.
this has much of an impact as well, but I wonder also if part of the issue is Games Workshop pricing them in such a ludicrous way for certain Forge World
Oh,
things.
yeah.
That what people do is they'll go and find alternative ways of acquiring the same mini.
Yeah.
Which I'm against if the mini's still sold by the company. I am.
It's-
but
it-
that would skew sales data.
Yeah, although it
You
is,
kind of understand it as well. It was like 200 quid.
I know, I do understand it. I do.
But,
I'm
like,
against it, but I understand it.
Yeah.
but it's going to be harder now because like Etsy's just changed its rules. I think eBay's going to change them soon as well. So if you can only sell a 3D print if you are the proven owner of the created file.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
So
interesting.
like, because it was based around, do you know those little 3D printed dragons that everyone has, the bendy ones? Have you seen them? They're quite
No.
colourful. Basically, there was this dragon that you could 3D print, and then when you took it off, it was all super bendy, and you could put it like a big egg. But fucking everyone that sold it, everyone on eBay sold a version of it if they had a
Yeah.
3D printer because they were mad popular. But like, I think the guy that created it had never copyrighted it or something, so it was just free.
So everyone
on-
would do
on
it, yeah.
everyone. But it basically stops you from having 100 people selling the same product. Obviously for wildly different prices.
Yeah, because whenever I've been on Etsy, like just looking for stuff, there's always like 12 different people selling the same like Space Force upgrade things,
Yeah.
or whatever, or Black Templar.
Well,
or
Games
whatever.
Workshop have got very aggressive with their IP lately as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
so it basically means that like because Etsy was obviously designed by another sweeping statement, like like the stay-at-home
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
the
dear.
stay-at-home crafter. I could have been wildly worse for that, but
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you could have.
it's like people
please
that
try and make
hand
sure we both
make
keep our
and
job, Joe.
create products themselves, then sell. You
Yeah.
know, it's like going to a village
It's
hall.
like,
It's like a village hall craft fair. On
Yeah,
the
it's like
internet.
an online car boot sale, isn't it? Kind
Yeah.
of.
So basically, it's just protecting people's own.
Yeah, that makes
IPs.
sense, to be fair. 'Cause
Yeah.
you would feel a bit shit if like you made this file and then everyone else was selling it.
Yeah. And I think eBay might be going the same way. I think eBay is going to do the same.
I'd have thought eBay would be more strict on it.
But Games Workshop love it because anyone that sells anything that's like a resculpt of anything of theirs, they can
They're
be
gonna
like,
get
bam,
done.
done. Yeah.
Dempsey police.
The only way you can get around it, I think, is if you're like an auction. If you're reselling a Games Workshop product that you've bought from Games Workshop, like second hand, it's fine. But if you're selling a 3D print of a Space Marine,
Yeah, it's a little bit.
well,
yeah.
yeah.
Onyx, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Onyx.
We're on 81 right now.
Oh, 7 more. That is a good number.
I hope the next time you
Sure, I'm 8th in the world of World Eaters at the moment. Feels right.
You kind of want to stay there, don't you?
Yeah, I don't want to get any more points.
No.
no. But what happens if the thing is though, you have to keep playing to stay
That's
at
the thing. I have
eighth
to
in the
stop
hope that
number
the
9 from
overtaking you. But also you don't want people to jump up.
It's
You
a
don't-
logistical nightmare.
And you don't want the people
Yeah.
above you to do worse because you might go up, which is better and worse at the same time.
Yeah.
Onyx, I hope that you never shit yourself when you fart. Never.
It's a strong one, that one.
Yeah.
There's always a risk.
Yeah, it's just good for life.
No, yeah. You know when sometimes you stand there and you kind of have to like shuffle it around, filter it out.
Yeah,
filter
there
the
is
fart
that
out.
like terrifying moment where it's like it's nearly ours.
Okay. Prudence, thank you for the $5. If you're going to bin off Flyers and Titanic, may as well go the whole hog and bid off Primarchs at 2k. Can only be allowed in 2001 points and above. See, I don't hate the principle of that. I don't hate them saying you can still use it, right? And if you think about Heresy, they kind of do that sort of stuff. And if you think about Old World, they kind of do that stuff. So they go, you only have this many percentages this and this many percentages this. And Heresy's only Primarchs over 2,000
I think
points.
the difference though is that in Heresy, Primarchs are a bit batshit mental in terms of their force multiplier, but also the rule system in Heresy is different. So obviously they have very, very high weapon skills and initiatives and weapons, which means that they are really, really, really good. Whereas it's scalable, right? Everyone in Heresy, when they fight a Primarch, their stats gets worse. But when you fight a Primarch in 40k,
You stay the same.
you hit them the same.
Yeah, because Heresy's got the old like, if my combat skill is better than your combat skill, you're like -1 to hit essentially.
Yeah, if it's double, you're -2.
Yeah.
So it's like
It's much harder to actually.
it's
get
much
them.
harder to interact with them, which means they're way, way better. But the thing is about someone like Gilliman, right, is a good example. He is less wounds, less toughness than the Demon Primarchs. He's got a 4-up invuln
Yep.
and a 2-up save. So apart from being toughness 9, he's actually relatively quite easy to kill.
Yeah, he's got his pseudo lone op.
Well,
But even that, if he gets charged by any decent combat, it will
He just
probably
dies,
get
yeah.
him. He does stand back up, but it's not like that great.
the Lion is arguably harder to kill because he gets
A
quite
little
fat.
bit, yeah.
But
It's
if
just
he
like-
doesn't have his aura on, you could potentially just dev wound him to death.
That's true.
Right.
If you chuck some grenades at him.
If you throw some grenades at him, tank shock him, and your opponent hasn't picked the aura, you could potentially just kill him in a turn.
Yeah, I mean, any of them you can technically kill in a turn.
Yeah, like I had I killed Mortarion in round 2 in the tournament. Just went in and I was like, he's going to die this turn, and I fucking obliterated him. And it's like in Heresy that doesn't happen.
When Angron was still relevant to the data sheet, I think it was rare that he ever lasted more than 1 turn once he'd had a go.
Well, like we played a game where I killed him 3 times.
Yeah.
With a hammer strike and a
It was
ballistic dreadnought.
Yeah, it only takes a couple of las cannons to get through and a couple of like big rolls.
A unit of Stern Guard killed him in 1 round of shooting.
Yeah, I had one where the guy playing Death Watch killed him with 6 of the like Inceptor guys. It was just like, wow.
But I think
cool.
the difference is with knights, right, is there's more than one.
Yeah, that is it.
There used to be a time when you could only take one as an ally.
I think,
and that was fine.
the other thing is, a lot of armies, you'd be like, well, this unit can kill any knights. And it's like, they can kill one knight, and then that unit dies, and then you've got nothing else that can kill
what
knights.
they don't have is access to Fulgrim, who can body a war.
That's true, yeah. I don't know why we're complaining. Everyone run Fulgrim.
Ocking Door, thank you for the $5. Liam sounds like 5th edition. Flyers were useless, less than 2,000 points, and super heavies were useless, not playable, less than 3,000 points, aka Apocalypse. Yeah, I kind of missed that time. But I reiterate, once you give people things, it's then a bit shitty to take things away.
Yeah.
So I did kind of prefer that time, if I'm honest. I preferred the game pre-Flyers and Super Heavies, and I think it's a better game pre-Flyers and Super Heavies. But a lot of people like Flyers and Super Heavies, and they will have bought into them now because they like them.
Right, but
you can't take it off them.
Right. But realistically,
Right.
if we're honest, and you people at home have to be honest with yourselves.
Do you have to be honest with yourself?
It's not good when that happens.
No. But if we're honest, right, Flyers aren't in the game anyway now.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I saw a flyer.
Right, if you take a flyer, you are knowingly hampering yourself by putting it on.
Well, it's like what I
table.
said, it's either absolute trash and you just think it's cool, or it's somehow breaking the game at that point in time.
We live in a realm currently where flyers don't fucking exist. Like they're about, but they might as well be legends in terms of how often they're taken.
Especially when you promise to run 3 Helldrakes.
Yeah.
They're bad now, aren't they? So
What do you mean now?
they were better for like 2
Oh,
months.
did they take away the...
They took away the 2-up save.
That's funny.
Honest to God, I don't know why.
They were like, no!
They weren't saying the world.
No fun for Joe.
They weren't setting the world on fire, were they? But
Literally.
It's not like what the saddest thing about the Helldrake, right, is that people that see the Helldrake in Space Marine 2 are sold the worst lie ever.
Yeah, it can kill someone.
Yeah. And it's like, and super heavies outside of Imperial Knights are barely seen either.
Yeah, like you do
see them, but it's always some fucking nutter at a tournament who's like, I'm not here to win. I'm here to get shit-faced and have a good time.
Yeah, like
that's a great way to play.
Someone who's bringing like a shadow sword or something just because it's cool.
Yeah, like
Or Lord of Skulls.
I like my Wraith Knights.
Yeah, but Raven Knights are a bit of an edge case because they can be a bit fucking loopy. Like
They're not even mental good though.
No.
They're still like kind of a meme choice, but not.
Yeah.
Not
You've
so
got. I
bad.
think that the sliding scale is like Imperial Knights, and then it goes like the Wraith Knight. And then someone said that like the Tesseract Vault. The Tesseract
I've seen that thing quite a lot at tournaments.
It's like real edge case good.
Yeah, like,
and
it seems to be quite good.
But I
guess the Monolith is also quite good.
like
that's
Bane Blades.
Yeah, it's like T14.
Bane Blades and Shadow Swords are now better because of the most recent balanced data.
Oh, they made them allow orders, didn't they?
Yeah, because they can now be ordered. But they can only be ordered by Lord Solar.
Can they not be ordered by a tank commander?
No.
Not by Lord Marshal Dreer.
Fucking stupid.
No.
Why can't they be ordered by a tank commander?
Because law-wise, a super heavy tank commander outranks a tank commander.
Can you have I assume you can't have a Bane Blade tank commander?
There are in the narrative, but they aren't.
But not in the game.
Simred says flyers don't exist unless you're Scurry and win tournaments with bombers. Look, you can't add logical data to Joe's arguments. Tom and I learnt this a long time ago.
No, but you got to think, right?
Also, Josh Roberts won the Bristol.
No, yeah, but what you're saying, right?
Flyer.
What you're saying, right? In a community of 16,000 people registered on ITC that go to tournaments, right?
Yeah.
You've named me 2 human beings.
I have.
Right? The data shows that 2 people did okay with planes.
Well,
but how many of those
What do you mean okay?
So first of all, the data doesn't show 2 people because we don't know how many of those 60,000 did take planes. And it didn't say they did okay because they both won.
Yeah, but we're looking at... But when you're saying... When I'm saying that, like, plane... Like, not everyone is taking a plane. Everyone is taking Blade Guard.
What I'm saying is, like, 99% of planes are shite.
99% of the planes
and
are
then
not
there's
involved.
a couple that you can basically abuse the rules with in certain detachments.
Yeah, but we're saying as a whole, as a concept, planes are out.
On average, yeah.
Yeah. saying like, oh, one guy in the Philippines did really well with triple, with triple Storm Raven, you know, great.
Yeah, that's the same as what we said, isn't it?
But we're saying is that one guy in America, one guy in England, one guy in this country did well with it once, right?
Yeah.
It's not the same as saying everyone that planes should stay in the game.
I don't think they should stay
Yeah.
in the game. I'm just saying that they can be a competitive
They can be
choice.
good, but no one else is taking them.
I know, but like, just get rid of them then.
Yeah, just bin them off.
But the problem you'll
what
find,
I'm saying is just get rid of them.
the problem you'll find competitively though is if a person wins a major like Bristol GT, you will then see that list repeated.
Yeah, for about a month.
You will see it repeated.
It was about a month, and then people realise that they're not that one person that won a tournament once.
Yeah, they're
and then
not
stop using it because
they're
they don't
not
know
the
how it
Games
functions.
Workshop rules writer. They can't win a GT. Yeah.
That's the thing about that's the beauty of the meta list and why Games Workshop loves tournament dweebs.
Yeah.
Right. Someone does well once.
Yeah.
With a plane list.
Yeah.
Stonks go up on selling planes, right? People realise they don't know how to use them. They stop using them. And then someone writes another list that does well with an obscure unit. Games Workshop sells loads. But you don't... And they're really popular for like a month, and then they go away again.
Maybe planes could become like support pieces that could like just buff your army or like make the opponent's army work.
There was a
somehow.
brief time where it was it Death in the Skies?
With the dogfighting mechanic.
Yeah, there was a mini game where you played all planes versus all planes.
You had to have a separate table.
Yeah,
You actually had
and
to have a
then
separate
basically
table.
what happened is if you and your opponent, if one of you turned on a plane, your plane just came on
Yeah.
onto the table. If you and your opponent had a plane each, you then rolled off for a theoretical dogfight that happened off the table, and then depending on how that resulted, either one plane was destroyed and the other one comes on,
Yeah.
or one plane is basically comes on and the other one's delayed.
So you had to like play 2 games. Of
You played a
Warhammer.
mini game, yeah.
That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, so you know.
Let's not go back to that.
Thank you, Prentice, for the $5. Please don't take away my Storm Surge after making them finally playable. I want to run 3 at Beachhead. 11th, they can be for Apocalypse only. Lol. I don't think we'll see them taken away. Prentice, ever. I say ever. I don't think we'll see. There's no way we're going to see super heavies or flyers. Flyers is another one. There's no way we're going to see super heavies removed from the game anytime soon. I don't think that's going to happen.
No, mainly
flyers
'cause
is interesting, like because Eldar kept all their flyers, and then Space Wolves lost all their flyers.
Oh yeah, the
Really odd.
Dark Angels kept theirs.
Dark Angels kept their flyers.
Space Marines have a bunch.
Space Marines have a bunch, but they came out 2 years ago.
Loads of them.
Yeah, but I think that. But then they're not very good,
They're all shit. Yeah.
right?
I don't know.
I just think like the Dark Angels have a flyer kit that makes 2. One is okay, the other one is not good.
I do miss the way that when orcs planes used to die, they could turn into the shock jump dragster.
Yeah, they just
like,
go, "Brr."
jet
You
on
could-
the
you could
floor.
target
If you
someone,
roll
yeah.
like a 6 or something,
Yeah.
it just turns into the car version. That was fun.
But like you said, the biggest issue that planes have is the table is much smaller now.
Yeah.
Because I rolled out the 6x4 map the other day because I was cutting one down, and I was like, Jesus,
Big.
I missed
this
the
is
big map.
massive,
I missed the
and
big
I
map.
miss it a lot.
Do you?
Because the bigger map, because the table's so small now, all units are good, and they all function very well in terms of movement and needing to go where they need to go. But when the map was a 6x4, fast-moving units that have a long distance that can travel had a role. You know, short-moving units had a specific role and a function. Therefore, like because a unit moves 6 inches, a rhino is valuable to them
Yeah.
to move around. Planes had an edge. Everything had a better tabletop role when the table was bigger because they had further to go and like objectives were more spread out, so things could function and operate more freely. Whereas now, sometimes it feels a bit like cramped and nothing
Yeah.
feels safe.
Yeah, I would say like fast moving units are still like the best thing to have.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's like moving 6 inches with an advance of like 2 or 3 feels like a huge distance now. Whereas on a 6x4 table, that was nothing really. But it's also like now the table's smaller. Like I would argue that you need to, and I've been saying this since the start of the edition. Artillery has no place in the game anymore.
No, I think I agree with that.
Because artillery in real life is fired from kilometres away.
Yeah, and it kind of made sense on 6x4s, especially when you consider in the speed that you're talking about. But now so many things can make turn 1 charges.
Yeah.
I'll set my artillery piece up. Oh, it's in combat turn 2.
Yeah, it's like when the table was 6 foot long and everything moved slower, a basilisk had more time to essentially range in on its target, right? Because it's scattered, but that doesn't matter. It had more opportunity, whereas now a basilisk, like I said, fires once and then something comes and tags it and it can't.
Maybe we could have another mini game with artillery where they're on another table.
But like even like mortars, I think need to go because mortars don't sit in the streets of a firefight. They sit on a hill or a bit outside a town and then just lob shells into it.
But I don't know. Mortars are like not in. You could probably do relatively short range mortars.
You can short range mortars.
You can.
I don't know much about it.
Infantry sections in the British Army have mortar platoons.
Yeah, surely it's like not that far.
Yeah, but they're like really on the cusp in terms of like the firefight that you're in here.
Yeah, but it's still
like,
infanteers.
But like,
if you were like back at the home objective and you're firing like into the middle area, that's probably okay.
Yeah, like if you like the equivalent of like what a Piat is, I suppose. But like, I think if you're, but almost I think that the mortar, if you are to keep it, has a minimum range.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because when you think that like mortars now and artillery are shooting at full effectiveness at a unit that's on the other side of the wall from them,
because you go whoop,
whoop. Yeah. No artillery man is firing a round directly upwards to hit something 2 meters.
I don't know, mate. I've met some people in the artillery.
Yeah.
Also, this is like the Dark Imperial universe where they probably would just bomb themselves.
Yeah.
I've seen people do all kinds of things with things like mortar tubes, mate.
Yeah.
Nick, thank you for the $10. I have a hard enough time getting a regular 2K game in, and you want to take away units from my army unless I play 3K plus. I don't think we said that. I think your job being 40k has skewed your perspective, or we play it a lot more, so we have more data.
Yeah, potentially,
and we're more informed.
I think if you're playing casual, you do literally anything you want. There's no rules in that.
Yeah, like. We're talking on the concept of a larger scale. So you see the hobby in the vacuum of you and your immediate life and responsibilities.
Yeah.
Right? So it is hard for you to get a game in and you live a normal life. And that's understandable. Like outside of the channel, I play Warhammer. I would play Warhammer maybe once a month at best. Right? Or maybe I come here to play it. And on the weekend, so I play a regular game, as it were. But when you play those normal games, you still want to have the best experience you can. And if one person turns up with a couple combat patrols and stuff that they've been able to afford to buy, and another person turns up with an entirely tooled Imperial Knight army as it is now, the person that's scraped together as much money as they can to get some combat patrols. Not having a great time.
Real bad time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have anti-tank, you're just like going to cry.
Yeah. So it's like if both of you are reading off the same sheet of a smaller pool of models to play from, the experience will be better and more balanced, and as a result would have more fun.
There is an argument to suggest that more balance increases or decreases the level of fun, because the more balanced, the more perfectly balanced something becomes, the more boring.
Well, I don't think 40k will ever be fully balanced, but I think. No. But the example is, say you've started Drakari, right?
Yeah.
And you've gone, what is the most cost efficient way of starting Drakari?
Yeah.
3 combat patrols, Drazar, Venoms, right?
Yeah.
Gets you to a decent 2,000 point army. But if someone turns up with an Imperial Knight army, as it is now, because they don't have the financial constraints that you do, and they can spend 300 quid on 3 big knights and then a couple hundred quid on a bunch of little knights. They're going to flatten you, and it won't be fun. But if your opponent is turning up with an army that is they've maybe spent 500 quid on a Space Marine army, for instance, that doesn't have Imperial Knights in, as a Drakari player, you're going to have more fun because it's more of a tank and infantry-based combat, I think. And I think it's more of a case, it's more, your armies may not be equal and your skill levels are not equal, but you're both playing in the confines of a infantry and slight vehicle game.
I think that's the thing with skew lists like knights. Like sometimes it's just really not fun. And when they're good, it's really, really not.
This
fun.
also feeds what we spoke about a little while ago about combined arms attachments. Combined arms attachments sort of do a similar thing. Armies looked a bit more like armies. Skew lists didn't exist. You don't like. It's not necessarily just super heavies and flyers that are or can be the problem, because you can have a skew list that doesn't include a single super heavy or
we go to the Winter Tournament sometimes. The guy there that runs like 3 Great Unclean and Roragus, and like that is very much a skew list. No super heavies technically, but it is a massive pain in the arse to play against.
It's like as it is now, you can take Helbrecht with a lieutenant and 10 sword brethren, and there's not a unit in the game that they don't flatten. But that's literally like the main named character of an army with 2 5-man boxes of infantry and a random character.
And to reiterate what I've already said 2 or 3 times anyway, I don't think they should be taking things away from people that they've given them. I think the game was better before super heavies were a full army, and I think the game was better before flyers and super heavies were introduced into Warhammer in terms of it's easy to balance. You don't have players that have to worry about, well, I need to make sure I can take down knights, but actually I might have to make sure I can take down multiple knights. Like, the game was better than I think, but as I've said, they've brought them in. They've let you take a full army of knights. I don't think they should take that away from people now. No. I didn't like... if we speak about the stream that I put up straight after they fucking legends all the heresy stuff, I went pretty angry. Didn't really impact me. Didn't. But I just think it's a horrible trick to give people loads of stuff and then take it all away.
Yeah.
I think just they need to be better on limitations. Like, you can take a knight army, for instance, right? But you can only spend 1,000 points on armigers and war dogs.
Maybe, yeah.
1,000 knights?
1,000 points.
1,000 knights, Joe. You've already seen the rules for 11th edition.
I think the big ones are probably better now anyway, because they're just so cheap.
Yeah, but the thing is that hopefully...
Which is good that they are making them more takeable.
I think the problem with the Chaos Knights book and now the Imperial Index is that the big knights are cheaper, but the armigers are even cheaper.
Only a little bit. And they are much worse.
But you can take a lot of them.
You can take a lot of them.
Because the Helverin is still the same.
But, like, I think...
And the Warglaive...
I think we have...
like 6 inches on his gun and that's it.
I think we have reached the point now where you take big ones, though. Which is good.
I think I would rather face a couple of big ones than 13.
Oh, it's just so boring. 100%.
Yeah.
Cray, thank you for the pink one for the 5,000 Japanese yen, you legend. Did you see that Cathay, for Cathay, they've clarified the next Arcane Journal has no new units. So Cathay only has everything they have shown. 10 entries in the army, not counting unit variations. Is a small release better, or do you think this is short-sighted?
So, you've got to think in the terms of how Old World plays, right? Because you can spend 500 points on one character.
Yeah.
Half of your army can be made up of characters. So, I haven't seen the Arcane Journal. I don't know the points, but realistically, you could take the guy on the little dragon, the lady that turns into a dragon, and a lantern. That's 3 units. That's half of your army, potentially, right? 500 points of your army has to be made up by core, which is probably your base infantry, and I think you can take knights. And how it's pointed, you'll probably take... Because the battalion box is 1,200 points-ish, and it have been for most armies that have come out for Old World. So when you've got 30 infantry, 10 knights, 3 cannons, and then 1 each of the characters, that's your army done.
Yeah, That's a lot.
Really, and Old World Old World is a game where armies look like armies,
Yeah,
whereas
they
don't. 40k is getting better at it, but when you think about how an army is actually composed, having big bricks of infantry and knights of the same unit is more common than having fuckloads of elite stuff all over the place.
It's a difficult one. I think the Games Workshop could potentially look at when they refresh it, if they refresh it in a number of years, they can then add additional units to it. And from a business model perspective, if you bring out a new edition and then a new Grand Cathay Arcane Journal in the future, and you have no new units, and they're not selling any more models, you could argue that for everything that's been released so far, because they're using a lot of the older stuff, that you could release the same unit for High Elves or for Wood Elves or for Bretonians, but actually you're releasing a new sculpt, and so people are going to want to buy them because people do want the newer things. That being said, as we've already talked about with 40k, by having smaller releases and smaller armies, arguably balance is easier because you don't have to roll out 25 million different data sheets.
As Mogwai Man says as well, new factions are always released in waves, right? You get an initial release that makes you a buildable army, and then you get a release a year or two later, and it might have
more than one
multiple units in it. It might be also one character.
Yeah.
But like, if you look at how Cathay is as a range, there are no elite infantry, no elite cavalry. So I would imagine that they would get something.
I think because they are an actual brand new army, kind of like Votan. You'd imagine Votan are getting more than one thing when they come out.
But also, like, that army is also based on a narrative, but also based on what they put into the Warhammer Total War game.
Yeah, because they didn't really exist before.
No, so I would imagine, because I haven't played Total War, so I'd imagine whatever they got in that, expect for them to get on the table, right? And then once that's out, if they haven't received everything that's in the game, then they will probably get what else is in the game at a later time. But I would prefer, like Liam said, for them to now go back through the armies that exist and just re-sculpt and release the units that already exist.
Oh god, yeah.
I've got Bretonian army. I've got 9 Pegasus Knights, which is basically the maximum I can take in the army because of the points restrictions that exist in the game, which is good. I can't take more because they're really fucking good. But if I could take more, I would, but I can't. If they said, here's a new Pegasus Knight kit, I'd be like, cool, just push the other lot off the shelf. We'll just have the new ones. Because the new Knights on Foot that they released and the Pegasus character they released is stunning. And I would rather have the army I have now with new models over the army I have now that's old models.
If Old World did actual new models, I'd be pretty tempted to get back into it.
And nothing's also stopping you from using Age of Sigmar models to do your stuff. There's like I know people that have got high elf armies that are Lumineth Realm Lords. I know people that have Empire armies that use cities.
Yeah, I think you might struggle with some factions.
Some factions don't have a full...
Like dwarves, for example, you're going to struggle to actually cross over
I am
with a lot of their units.
I'm currently resisting major urges to pull all the Lumineth out the cupboards at the moment.
Why?
Because I should focus on my Space Wolves. But I'm just letting you know.
Just do what you want to do, mate.
Josh, thank you for the $5. Consolidate all the Space Marine books you want, but leave the actual unique armies alone. Depends.
I'm going for a wee-wee.
Would you not consider Space Wolves as unique, though?
Yeah, but
Space Wolves are the most unique.
They are actually probably the most unique Space Marine faction now, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd go the other way. I'd break Space Wolves and Blood Angels out into their own individual codex.
Maybe means like the core Space Marines range. Consolidate that. Get rid of the crap in that there is some of.
I mean, Core Space Marines as a book has got a significantly high number of data sheets, and
it's like 90
you could absolutely argue that they should be slimmed.
Oh god,
as a range.
There's a lot of things. You could go through that and just pick like half of them you never see.
But again, like I said, because what they did is they brought out Primaris in addition to Firstborn, rather than what they did with Chaos Space Marines, where they went, here's your new Legionnaires. You will have people out there, I would bet a significant amount of money. You'll have people out there that will still be running tactical squads.
Oh, yeah.
They'll still be running Devastator squads. They'll still be running old mini marines. They'll still love their old mini marines. And so at that point, if you remove those things and those data sheets, what you've done is because you've let people have them still, is you then end up putting yourself in a position where you're like, I'm now removing a thing that you have and you're using. And I don't like that. So what they should have done is they should have gone, instead of going, here is the Primaris lore on the Primaris Space Marine, they should have gone, we've scaled up Space Marines a lot like this now. Here's a new mark of armour.
Yeah, it is weird.
Still a tactical squad. There you go.
They've kind of half-assed deleting old units from Space Marines. They've deleted like some of them, but have left a lot of old tactical stuff going.
They've made a fucking mess of it, mate.
Yeah, it is an absolute mess. And the fact that they're now kind of backtracking on Primaris as well, like how like loads of new kits are like Primaris, but not technically Primaris.
Yeah,
they're just wearing the new armor.
I think they had a major fuck up with Primaris.
Yeah, they did a shit job.
Because the Loithers, they need to drop firstborn. It's controversial, but it needed to happen. I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
But I also don't like the fact that people that still have it will lose stuff that they're using that they care about. And so like it's just, I don't know. It's weird. They fucked it, I think, for themselves. I don't know how they dig themselves out of this hole, to be honest with you. Because you're right, what they're doing now with some stuff is they're going, oh, look, this is a new version of this thing. We're not going to mention this Primaris.
Like, prime example is Terminators. They're just like, yeah, they're just Terminators. No more questions.
Terminators, don't ask us anything.
Don't ask if they've been Primaris.
Yeah.
This is new Terminator. Nope, just Terminator.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
War Boss Benny, thank you for the $10. I think Games Workshop should slim down army factions and roll them into a single codex, such as the Chaos Demons in their parents' faction, Genius of the Cult into Tyranids, Imperial Knights into Admech, and Chaos Knights probably into Chaos Space Marines. Or you could bring out a new faction like Dark Mechanicum, I guess.
I'm not necessarily against that, to be fair. There's some armies that I think are so limited that like they could end up as a joint codex.
I think if you put Demons in their parent codex, or you put Genius of the Cults into Nids, or Imperial Knights into Admech, okay, fine. But because of the way things are currently, you still have to be able to have a functional detachment, which would allow you to take them as a mono faction.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, like, the way that Heresy does rules, for example, at the moment, and they've already announced the books for the new edition, you get a single Liber, which covers all of the heretic...
all heretic
legions. You do a single Liber, all the loyalist legions. And I'm like, to have a thicker book, so you buy one book, is good value. Is it better at the tabletop? I mean, if you've got a functional app, I think maybe that's okay.
I suppose so, but then like...
One of my favourite things is when they indexed from 7th to 8th, and you had a single book called Imperium 1 and Imperium 2 and Xenos and Chaos. And if you bought the Chaos Index, right, by that thick, every single Chaos faction in it.
Jesus.
One book.
That was mental.
Cool as shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Was cool as shit.
And it was cool as shit, but do you know what wasn't out at the time? The entire Primaris range.
With no tree.
When they in 7th into 8th, the index books were better. I did like them, but the armies were much smaller.
Do you not think though you could do it? You could like the Libers. You could do Chaos, Xenos, Imperium, and then Space Marines.
I think you technically could, but I don't think it solves any problems.
If you don't mind buying a £100 hardbound book.
Yeah, but that's arguably still better value for money.
Yeah, but like
for you as a customer, yes. For Games Workshop, no.
But also, if you you just play Tau, you don't give a shit about anything else.
It is then worse.
100 quid.
It is then worse. Yeah, absolutely.
Xenos book.
I think
that's interesting, isn't it? It could be a way they could do things.
I've always, someone says get rid of Firstborn, and I think they're probably right. What I wanted to see was 2 Space Marine books. And I wanted to see when they in 8th,
slimming down, Joe. Slimming down.
In 8th and 9th edition, I wanted Codex Firstborn for Codex Primaris. Because Primaris chapters are founded as solely Primaris, right?
Yeah.
And there were chapters of Space Marines that were still fully Firstborn. So, for instance, Space Wolves were an entire Firstborn chapter because they hadn't been decimated like the Blood Angels, right? So I wanted, for people that still had Firstborn armies, they had a books and a codex they could use. Instead of now, it's just all gone to index.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not against jumbling factions together for less books for customers. War Boss Benny.
Yeah, I was hoping they were going to put demons in the Chaos Space Marine books, but they kind of fucked that one up.
Cray, thank you for 5 gifted memberships. Currently, Joe, we've got 18 members to go to get to 100. So 2 lots of 10 or 1 lot of 20 or 4 lots of 50 and we'll get there.
I hope, cray, that one of your family members becomes obsessed with making homemade pork pies and sausage rolls.
I always get nervous.
And they do.
Yeah, whenever it's a family member.
I always get nervous.
and they just deliver them to you on a daily basis.
Beautiful. Love
Right.
it. That sounds amazing.
And hopefully you're not on a diet or anything.
Ivy, thank you for the $2. Says Bigfoot sighting at Sussex Gym. You're not even in Sussex, are you? Or were you in Sussex? Was that what you were?
No, I was in Wiltshire.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was Exmoor, so technically Somerset, and then
Somerset.
Wiltshire, and now Dorset.
I've called you Bigfoot as well. Oh my god.
Rude.
My feet aren't even that big. I'm only a size 10. I'm average.
Oh, yeah.
Hardborn, thank you for the 5. There's nothing average about you, Jay. There's
Except his
nothing
feet.
average about you. You are special.
Yeah.
Visual.
That doesn't fill me with confidence.
You are
either.
a special individual, and everyone in chat will agree. Hardborn, thank you for 5 gifted memberships. You legend! !Vortex in chat.
I hope that they remake the TV series Due South and they film it in your town.
Oh,
Do you ever watch Due South? Do you even know what Due South is?
Not a clue.
Due South is about a Canadian Mountie that moves to New York. But
Okay.
but like the first series, if they remade it, could all be just in Canada in
Right.
Vortex Games town.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I get the connection now.
Fucking brilliant TV show. I always wanted a husky to call a Diefenbaker, which is
what?
a husky.
I know that bit. Was the
It's
second part?
He had in the story his was a wolf, and he had a pet wolf called Diefenbaker.
Diefenbaker.
Yeah, I don't understand what it is.
beef and bacon.
Yeah.
Thank you, Evan, for the $10. Hi, team. Speaking of changes, what do you think they need to do to the Beast Snagger attachment to make it more playable? Cheers. Great haul, best haul.
There may be 2. For a start.
That is probably the main issue with all beast snagger units. They're all AP1 pretty much.
Yeah.
Except for like the big bad guy who was called. The detachment rules are actually not bad. You get like +1 a wound against. They get like an open moment, but it's like +1 a wound against the character, monster, or vehicle. There is some cool stuff in there. Like there's a Scout 9 enhancement for like Squigs. So
Yeah.
Squigs can like Scout 9 and then advance and charge. But like they're good at like they're quite good at killing vehicles. If anyone's got armor contempt, they are fucked because they're 90% AP1 and like they just don't do that much damage on average.
Yeah, I think the quickest way to fix all the Beast Snagger stuff is +1 because I really want to do it, and then every time I speak to an orc player who has all the pigs, they're like, it's really really good, but it's hyper expensive to put onto the table, both in cost and points.
Yeah.
And then when you put it on the table, it doesn't kill anything because the moment it hits anything that's save 2 or 3,
Yeah.
and like I said, armor contempt,
ruins their day.
useless.
I think they would be weirdly quite good against knights.
Probably even more so now, right? With
Yeah,
the
now
T9.
that they're not as tough and
Yeah.
like pretty much everything they have is anti-monster vehicle.
Also, they can't go through walls.
That is a problem.
They have the outright
They
problem.
are
Big sad.
very tough though for
Yeah.
a unit of 8 of them nowadays is like T7 minimum 3 wounds each, 5 up feel no pain.
I still want my pig army. I haven't put off the idea of the pig army,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I don't. Because everyone will call if the thing is if they become good and I do the army, people will just call me a meta chaser.
I'd
But at
say-
the same time, I don't want to waste my time.
Kill rigs are quite good now. They are quite cheap at the moment, and I think
Like 130 points. Aren't they?
it's maybe 150 or something. But like the Beast Snagger boss with the 10 Beast Snaggers is really good against vehicles because he's like dev wounds, anti-monster, anti-vehicle, reroll hits against vehicles and stuff. So like his unit does hit hard, but then it's tough to make an army out of 3 units of them.
Yeah.
And kill rigs because then you're like, oh, I've got to try put pigs in now, and as you said, pigs are a bit of a nightmare in some matchups.
Yeah.
And you kind of like run out of options that are actually Beast Snagger.
I like the idea of like +1 AP on the charge as an extra rule for the detachment.
That would be good.
Yeah.
That kind of helps, right? +1 AP on the charge.
But I
That's
think orcs as an army have a bit of an AP problem, to be honest, because even like the better units and orcs are basically all AP2.
Yeah. Sam Deacon, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Sam Deacon gifts enough each month at the moment that he might as well just be a Thane again. Just throwing that out there, Sam. Thank you for 5
Yeah.
memberships.
Comes out in the wash, doesn't it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I hope, Sam, that I hope that
He's really running out, isn't he?
His fuel
I
light's
hope
on.
that as a business you become sponsored by custard creams.
Banging.
Not
Yeah.
bad, not bad.
I'd like that one actually.
Yeah,
As well.
and they just send you care packages of custard creams every day.
Thank you, Clive the Q, for the one gifted membership. Thank you, Clive, for the $5. Joe, do you mean me taking a Revenant Titan to a tournament with my spirit host?
That'd be pretty cool.
I don't know what the context of that was.
That is in reference to you saying that there's always that weird potato in the corner who runs a stupid list with a massive super heavy in it or something at tournaments. You were talking about it earlier.
Well, that's
I
like,
didn't call them a potato. I called them a lunatic. But yeah,
that's another step up. That's like running a Titan.
Yeah.
I think like there's always one, but it's like at the end of the day, you're not taking a Revenant Titan to win a tournament.
No,
are
he's like
You're
you
just
said.
going
I
to-
hope
just
not.
go to-
You
just
said
go
the
to
guys
ta-
in the corner getting pissed and enjoying themselves.
yeah, having a good time, and I think that's the way that it should be played. Like
It's like taking a stomper.
I've always wanted to take the Shadow Sword or the Bane Blade to a tournament, but up until like 2-3 weeks ago, they were garbage. Yeah.
They still are.
They still are garbage, but now they can hit on threes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. My issue with taking guard to tournament, like I think RTT will probably be the worst. I won't take it to a GT because the problem about guard is there's a lot of rules and a lot of moving, and I think you get really bad decision fatigue running guard.
Could I take 3 Rogel Dawns, 3 Rogel Dawn tank commanders, Lord Polar, and a Shadow Sword,
Probably.
and make it fit?
Probably.
If I can do that, I'm in.
But also, I made a terrible mistake, which now I'm going to struggle to get out of going forward to any GTs, right? Is my entire army for the golden ticket fit into the generic
Really useful box.
Not really useful box. Entire army in one box.
Dark Angels.
Yeah, Dark
Yeah.
in that big. And I'm like, I want that all the time now.
That was
Yeah, I've done that with Custodes, and then afterwards, it's like, oh, God, take the
Yeah,
big
because I was
box
like,
now.
I was talking about I want to take Tyranids, and I'm like, great, I've got to go to the big box now. Whereas before it was just so light and compact. And going to tables was really nice, and standing in queue, it's just beautiful. It was.
Love it. Mandy, thank you for the trade. But Mandy, is your vagina spewed out your child yet?
That's a
happened
wording, isn't it?
Oh, that is
Like it's
yeah.
gone. Blah!
Yeah. That's what happens at births, isn't it?
I think so.
I thought it was like the Cucuchabra from South Park, the Chupacabra. There's like
What
machine
did you
guns. On the Cucuchabra? I don't know. It just like machine guns the babies around the room, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
dear.
what happens. The vagina spews, lots of stuff comes out, and a baby hits the floor. Thank you for the $20. To be fair, a Chaos book would be the same size as the Space Marine book. Well, yeah, quite. That's my point. There.
Space Marines are essentially their own super faction at this point.
Yeah. They are, yeah. We've got to 82 members as well, team.
Yeah.
Did all right.
Nice.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. I think if you made a generic Chaos book, like I really loved the indexing of 8th, 6-7 weeks left. I thought it was close. Well, I hope you're doing okay. I really loved the indexing of 8th edition when it was you could buy 4 books and you had all the rules for every single army in the game.
Yeah.
That was really cool. There was also a lot less rules.
But also the downside was you had to go to a tournament with 4 books.
We don't have to.
You didn't have to, but like everyone used Battlescribe at the
But
time.
the thing is, now that the app's so good, it is conceivable, although you're right, it's less financially viable for Games Workshop, I think, for them to be able to sell you a Chaos book that is a thick hardback, like the Libras that you buy for Heresy, because they're like, here's your book, put your code in, all the access to all the Chaos stuff or the Xenos stuff, and you build your lists on the app and you go to tournaments with the app. Like that's...
Yeah, it wouldn't be crazy, would it?
Probably for us, it's better. You're right, it's probably worse for Games Workshop, though.
It's definitely worth for their money.
But I think, like, financially, I still think that they should sell Codex, a digital code for a Codex for a tenner.
We've banged that drum pretty hard, don't we?
so many times.
It's just overnight money for Games Workshop to make.
But they'll see it as a loss if you then don't buy the book anymore and you just buy the code. So if you're a person who plays competitively and you play World Eaters and you don't care about the lore or the narrative, and they go, here's a new World Eaters Codex for 30 quid, but actually you just buy the code for a tenner, there will be a lot of people that will all go, well, just buy the code.
Yeah, but they're going to say...
So you're looking at all the people that don't play the army or are curious and just pay for the code.
Yeah.
And that would be extra,
Yeah.
I grant you.
And the thing is, though, right, after the first 3 months of a codex being released, right, like I hate the concept of having to buy a codex for an army that's been out for 3 months because that codex isn't right anymore.
Yeah.
The best time to own a codex now is the first 3 months before the next balance data slate, and then after that, just fucking throw it in a bin.
Yeah.
You might as well, because it's useless. Like, and you just got the code. I think if Games Workshop are like, I think Games Workshop make more money. They save money on production costs. They could sell it as like, oh, Games Workshop's going green, you know?
Yeah.
In the concept of we're saving money in production costs, we're saving money in the eventual recycling of your books, because after 3 years, most people just bin it, recycling.
Well, I'd like to know what the margin is on codexes, but if you were selling a digital code for 10 to 15 quid, it's essentially 100% margin.
Yeah, because you're just selling a file that you'd have to produce. Or
Yeah. And it's like,
So
like
that-
Dave says, 12. I'd pay 20 quid
For a digital book.
For a digital book.
Yeah.
Right, that's the steeper end. Right,
That
if it's for an army,
is
if it's for an
steep,
army that you want, say you play, because most people play 1 to 3 armies, right?
Yeah.
So for instance, like you're an edge case, but we'd say
we're all anomalies.
we'd say
I was going to say, like, don't point at me.
no,
with
but,
that.
but before you came to us,
Yeah.
it was Orcs, Custodes, World Eaters.
Yeah.
Right? And you find that with most people, like my mate Simon is Templars, Custodes, Votan.
Yeah, most people I know play 2 on average, I would say.
2 to 3, right? So
Yeah.
you wouldn't mind spending 20 quid on a World Eaters code,
Nah.
would you, right?
I would be mildly annoyed that it was just an online thing.
It was
now.
on the code, but you've got it immediately accessed straight away, and it's always up to date. If you spend it's more feel bad if you spend 30 to £10 more
more
on a
than that
physical, more than that, which is worse, right? Spending 35, 40 quid on a book that has a time frame of 3 months.
Or you can spend 150 quid on a cardboard box.
Yeah. So I think I'd say 15 quid is probably the sweet spot, because if you're codex curious, army curious, or if you're someone if someone's hyper competitive, they tend to need to know what all armies do.
They probably want to, yeah.
Yeah. They don't want to spend 45 quid on a codex to know the rules for an army they've got to play on a weekend game 1.
Well, they don't care about all the lore gump and shit, do
No,
they?
but they'll
I
pay
mean,
for
there's barely any in the codexes anymore anyway. They're so light on it now.
I know enough competitive people that would pay 15 quid on a Friday night to know what their opponent's
yeah,
army does on a
especially
Saturday morning.
because sometimes they like match you up like a couple of days before.
Yeah, and
And
some TOs now go, there's 300 people, there's 500 people at this tournament, I've paired you off with someone, can you check their army list, right? It happens, it's not very often, and sometimes, more often than not, they go, there's 10 Space Marine players here, you all check each other, right? One of you picks another I picked another Space Marine player for you, and then you check, right? Sometimes in edge case where I had to rules check a G's to the Cult army for an event, and I was like, I don't own the codex, so I'm immediately out. Right, I can't do this.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I don't know what the rules are.
Tyranids, right? Yeah.
So I played Tyranids, and they were like, "Well, G's to the Cult is the next thing because it's in
Yeah,
it's in the same ballpark, isn't it?"
When I played World Eaters when they first came out, I had to check a Death Guard because that had just come out as well.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the rules were.
Yeah.
I didn't have the codex.
So
The points looked reasonably close to 2,000.
If I was doing multiple grand tournaments and events over a year, I would probably invest in multiple codexes because people are like, I want to win my games. So my game 1 opponent tomorrow is Gene Stealer Cult.
Yeah.
I don't know what Gene Stealer Cult do, but I want to know before I get to the table I spend 15 quid.
Yeah, it does make. If you're really super competitive, you want to like win as much as possible. You
but
want to know all the other.
I
rules,
don't think that's where the biggest use would be, though. I'm not saying
I
it wouldn't be a
think it's
use.
more of
I think the biggest use would be like, I'm kind of curious about this faction.
Yeah, so
I can spend a tenner or 15 quid, which is really low, to get a little dip my toe in, have a little play with lists, have a look at rules, and go, oh, actually.
But it's also
like imagine if you every time you saw like the new models come out and you're like, I want to play that army now. You spend a tenner on the new codex,
right?
That happened a shitload.
But it's also like Space Wolves are coming out, right?
Yeah, they are.
Everyone's very excited, right? People have seen the models; they're really, really nice. Some guy, Colin, right, was really interested about the idea of Space Wolves. Always wanted to do Space Wolves, but doesn't know if they want to commit. I want to know what the rules are first. So Colin's like, well, I'll spend the 15 quid to look at the rules, and that will influence my buying if I want to dip into it. And more often than not, people that are interested in starting a new army that will spend 15 quid on a code, if they like it, they'll more than often buy the codex on top.
Yeah, but even if they don't, they're buying models then.
Yeah.
There's, they might not have done before.
Yeah.
But hey.
I don't see a negative to selling a code, especially when you think at the end of this edition now.
No, Joe, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I think Games Workshop specifically, I'm conscious we need to end soon because we're 2.5 hours in. But I think Games Workshop are one of these companies often when they look at that sort of thing, they've always sold codexes. They're now able to sell you a codex every 3 fucking years. And I think they go, there's a chance, and I don't think there is a chance, but I think someone there goes, there's a chance that if we switch to digital codes, because they make money off of codes, so much money off of codexes, if we switch to codes, we might end up making less money overall. Yeah. And then they, because of shareholders, they don't want to ever hurt their bottom line. So you can change things that might make you more money, but also could make you less, or you can leave things as they are and continue making the same amount of money.
Yeah, that's the thing, is a risk.
But also, right, you got to think about Games Workshop sell out of stuff so much now.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Every time.
Every time. That Space Wolf starter box sold out minutes.
No, it did take about a day.
Took a day?
Yeah, because I bought it in the afternoon.
Really? That shocks me, actually.
That was only on every other website.
Independence is sold out fast.
Yeah, so it gone, right?
And then on GW it took about 12 hours.
There's no reason why someone can't buy a codex code that they then get access to at the end of that pre-order window. That's like, I missed out on it, that box set, but I want to know the rules for that army because I have a Space Wolves army that I own, so I can play with the new rules until the physical codex comes out. It's also, right, Battlefield did it, right? There used to be because Battlefield games tended to be around a 3-year life cycle. You'd play the game normally for the first 2 years. At the end of the 2 years, they then released quick unlock packs for each class. So they would go, 10 quid, you have access to all the guns and upgrades that the engineer has. And then you could do the same thing for the sniper class. You could literally spend cards to quick unlock stuff because they were like, the game's been out for 2 years. We realised that some people have the time to play the game and they've unlocked everything, but we want people who are new to the game to be able to catch up quick. So here's a quick unlock. And I think Games Workshop, we're 2 years in to the edition now, all the codexes are all nearly out. They could do the same thing. Here's all the codexes.
I'm not against it, mate.
Yeah.
Right, you people have been fucking incredible. Thank you for hanging out with us for 2.5 hours for the Liam, Joe, and Tom show. Tom's back. And Tom's not only back, but he is playing tonight with World Eaters.
Yeah, World Eaters.
With World Eaters versus Joe with Black Templars, and it's Tournament Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to go super hard into each other.
Well, not on stream.
Do we not call it Tournament Tuesday then?
No, it isn't, right? Because we've got to think, right?
Are we doing a twist then?
We're doing a twist, yeah.
Well, it's not Tournament Tuesday then, is it?
Well, the thing is, though, right? In this matchup, it's two very aggressive close combat armies.
No, I'm aware.
Right?
Yeah.
We still have to get to at least 10 o'clock.
We don't. We go bed early.
Well, it's up to you then.
As long as they've gifted 150 members. and £450 of super chats.
Yeah.
And 700 likes.
It's one of those things, because basically to get to the 2,000 points, I added 2 Gladiator Lancers and a Redeemer. And the Redeemer is a bit of a big swinger in this matchup.
It does make me sad. Yeah.
Well, we'll see tonight. I'll let them decide.
We'll have a chat.
If you gift hard chat tournament Tuesdays, if you don't, it won't. So that's that for this evening. That's World Eaters versus Black Templars, and then tomorrow we've got the normal Warhammer show at 7:30 for you people. Thursday, me and Joe are back with another Liam and Joe show at the table, and then in the evening there's a live game of 40k. It's me and Paddy on Thursday, and you're decking for a change. Well, what would you rather do at this point? Would you rather get fingered by Paddy again, or would you rather be on the deck?
That's a tough choice, isn't it?
What would you rather, Joe?
I watched those games where he got done by Paddy. It was very funny.
I'm not desperate to play, so I don't mind decking.
Desperate to get bent over by Paddy.
No, it's not that. I like playing Paddy.
Mr. Zero Chill.
I don't cry as
I
hard.
like the game. What I really enjoyed our last game was that Paddy, under the guise of being chill, ran an army like how I play armies and fucking hated it the entire time.
Yeah.
Because it was too much fun.
The Blood Angels.
Yeah, he ran fun Blood Angels and complained the entire time because you can't win a game. Guess what? He won a game.
Yeah, so there you go.
So
Thursday it's either me and Paddy or Joe and Paddy. I'll let him decide which punishment he wants the most. And then Friday we're back with After Dark at 8:30. No, 9 p.m. It's 9 p.m. now on Fridays because it gets darker later, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Thank you all for the amazing gifted memberships. We ended up with just needing what's that? That's a number, isn't it? 18 we needed to get to the target, Jay. That's quite close. You smashed the likes though, so thank you so much, you wonderful human beings. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. If you have, make sure you do hit that like button. And you can comment after the stream. I read them all, but you're amazing people. Hopefully we'll see you tonight for the Liam, Joe and Tom game show. If not, we'll see you in the next one.
wonderful time.
Bye.